Magip Board of Directors meeting. So I can see that we have a quorum, so yay. And I just wanted to find out, need to make any kind of motion to start the meeting? Okay, all right. So as long as we have a quorum, are there any revisions to the agenda before we get started? No, changes. Okay. And then, if somebody would make a motion for approval of the December 17th, or are there any revisions to the December 17th, 2024 meeting minutes?
No revisions.
No revisions?
I'll make a motion to approve the December meeting minutes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. All right, the December 17th, 2024 meeting minutes have been approved. Right, so when we were looking to book this meeting, we realized that our funds for food and beverage were slightly lower than what we needed. So there is a line item for board action.
I'll make a motion for that action to update the 2025 fiscal year budget and increase funds.
By how much?
Yeah, no,
And is
I
it
would
for
don't
this
make a motion.
meeting?
yet.
Oh, okay, Gail did ask me to make that motion. So. Is it just? for-
Ellen's on the ball.
I know, right?
Board meeting?
One lunch.
Is it
Yeah.
lunch for the next?
It's lunch for today and for coffee and
For my steak today.
right.
My lobster.
And are you riding back by yourself?
Yeah,
And we
what's-
do have one more board meeting in June under this fiscal year, so I would know if we all going to approve or not.
That should not be, June is not, that's the start of, isn't that the new,
That would be the next one.
that's the next one.
Are we having a meeting at the conference?
Oh, that's the other, you know, if we're gonna have a dinner or something. The June one is the, yeah, that June one's for the new budget. It should be.
June falls under this fiscal year budget.
Right.
It
And it's a
does.
fiscal thing, but it is like the first board meeting of the new board.
Yeah.
Just to be
Yeah.
confusing.
Yeah, so our new budget doesn't start till July 1, so yeah,
Okay,
Nate is
oh,
right.
we have the new board, okay, all right.
Yeah,
okay.
Nate is right, we actually have 2 meals to increase for.
Okay.
So do we need food at the meeting that's gonna be held at the conference?
Well, are we having,
Are
we having?
historically, we haven't had one in the last couple of years, but like,
Okay,
I don't think we need. to.
Just so you know.
are we required to have an in-person meeting?
Well, we'll have a meeting, but I mean, we're talking about having a dinner, you know, and
I
I
see.
mean, we were pushing that in Billings to have everybody show up a day early and we'll have a dinner that night.
Yeah.
Oh, right,
And
okay.
and that got,
Or Thursday.
when they correctly blew that out of the water because we didn't have money for that, I mean, correctly, but,
Yeah,
This,
we didn't
this
have
could probably fall under my update, we can talk about it then, we probably should have done a revision. But if we wanna do a members meeting, probably need to start talking about that now, or just scrap it all together. Cause we did one, yeah, you guys did one last year,
Mhm.
I think it was, what, Wednesday morning, Thursday morning?
oh, yeah, we had the,
Announcements.
I would assume we will still have that.
Yeah.
I don't assume that we'll have a meal with that, there's
No,
meal.
no, no.
Okay, so the June meeting last year in June, I think we had 2 meetings. One was an onboarding meeting. And then there was an in-person meeting that was at the city of Bozeman where we ordered food.
Yes.
And I think that we ordered pickle barrel and it was about $200 maybe. Yeah,
Thanks.
okay.
That's
So,
It's probably pretty set up to about $500 maybe.
That's what I was thinking, about $500, would you say?
Now we bump it up to, is what you're saying?
We approved.
Well, we increased it by
$500, that's what you're thinking?
Yeah, that
Okay.
would cover the meal for today,
And June's.
incidentals for today, and
And
then June's meeting. And that's up to Jackson where we hold that meeting, so we haven't talked about that yet, that's coming, so. And you're welcome to hold it in, Bozeman in our room if you need to.
Okay.
So, okay, so,
Warren Billings,
All right,
where,
so-
you know.
Just my motion and add the $500.
Let me be clear, we had 800 budgeted, right?
yes,
And we've spent 890, we're gonna kick it up another 5, so. That'll be my 1,300, okay.
So where's that 500 coming from then?
Question.
It's not coming from anywhere, basically, we're just motioning to additionally spend $500 on meals. It's not being moved around on the budget at all.
Right,
But we don't have extra in the budget.
no,
So
that's
it's gotta
correct.
come out of
We
the
do have a reserve for emergencies, is that correct?
I mean, we have savings, yeah.
Okay,
I'm also okay for paying for my lunch.
Yeah.
and then hopefully this conference will exceed expectations and cover any extra incidentals.
I'd rather have my lunch money go to school on student scholarships.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, Rob. But we do have a $90 credit card and whatever we spent today already. So. We're spending the money for a great sweater.
Yeah, I feel like it's easy to say we can add 500, but if it's not coming from anywhere, then it might be a problem.
Nate, how much money do we have in our savings account?
Oh. Well, we have $30,000 in a CD and in our savings, let me pull that up real quick. It's from.
Yeah, I think that's the point of approving it, because it's something that happens essentially outside of the budget. And so, you know, clearly we have enough in our savings for the bump as well, so it's kind of just.
I just
It's
saw.
the way I see it, like, I mean,
You're right, Hillary, I mean, just saying, hey, we're gonna put another $500 out from out of nowhere,
Yeah.
you're absolutely
I
right.
mean, a couple years ago, we increased the swag like $2,000, and that's because we forgot to put swag in the budget, so I mean, the board has done. it before.
Yeah, this isn't unheard
We've
of.
made in, you know, I think the Ezra purchase thing happened outside the budget too, so like, I think that's kind of the purchase, or the point of doing a board action, for things out, you know, approving expenditures outside the budget.
Yeah,
That's the way I look at it. It doesn't have to reflect anywhere on the budget. We just have to kind of keep in mind next year, if we continue to spend like this, then.
We need to adjust the budget.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, on what we're approving.
Or eat like.
Or be more conservative with food.
Right.
Which we have in the past, you know.
Yeah, stop eating steak.
Yeah, and currently in savings, we have 9,567, and checking is $7,772.
but that's not like earmarked for like conference expenses, it's just extra.
See, in my mind, we're not supposed to have any. I mean, that's not the point of us. I mean, yeah, we're supposed to have, I mean, we're gonna have money for expenses and stuff, but we're a nonprofit or whatever the word. So we're not technically supposed to have money, but we've been making money with our conferences quite a bit lately. That's great, but. So. I got no problem spending it.
But that's, you know, I mean, there are different ways to think about that too.
Oh, I know.
You know, one thing that we've been doing is, did we purchase, a CD or, right? So that allows us to find,
Yep, that too. That's exactly right.
you know, and I keep thinking about, an endowment for scholarships and things, so as we continue to grow that savings, we can put that into an endowment. So that we have a stream of revenue outside of the budget.
That's a good point, because I forgot about that we were, Or have we decided that that's what we're planning on doing with the savings now that was, cause I don't know if we wanna start dipping into it then, if we're gonna be doing that.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on whether you want to eat today. So if you don't want to eat today, then we won't make an adjustment to the budget and we'll leave it as it is. And we would all pay for our own meals, or we'll make an amendment and an adjustment to the budget.
Well, it has to come from somewhere, right?
Well, that's what Hillary was saying,
Yeah.
and that's what we were talking
We were
about.
talking about that when you came in, that there's money in both the savings and checking account, and that will cover that.
And a
And we were
CD.
thinking about doing 500 to cover everything that we were looking for.
Yeah, because we have this month's and June's to cover.
Yeah,
I think that's okay that we do this, but I think in future times, we should have these numbers and have this discussion before the meeting, so we know coming into it, hey, we're over our budget already. So if you want lunch, this is something we need to consider before we even get to the meeting. So like last month, we could have had this discussion. Instead of putting in our order and then having to decide that we have to change the budget in order to pay for it.
yeah.
Well, let's just assume that we wouldn't talk about it, we just put in $1,000 more.
So one expense we haven't used in our budget under geocon expenses, if you look on this, is under travel. For the speaker travel, I don't know if this year we plan to use that or not. We used it once last year, but,
Yes,
someone's traveling.
yeah, Scott didn't request for it, so I think he's coming, either Ezra's paying for him or something, I don't know, he's coming on his own.
And right now we have $800 budgeted to, fund.
So there's your money right there.
Okay. That makes sense to me.
And so we could move $500 from that category to food.
And dipping into the savings and checking, you just weren't happy about it.
I just feel like, I mean, it'll be better once we wrap our heads around the budget this morning, but I feel like even though those numbers are there, they're already allocated to certain things, and we're not understanding that. Like, even though we have that $500 from the CDs, we're already using that $500 for something. So I
Yeah.
think it's easy to see those numbers in there right now, but that's not necessarily like, you can spend that. It might be tagged for something.
Yeah.
So I like how we're like shifting something to this, like that I can wrap my head around.
Yeah, we aren't using that funds, that makes sense. Both that and
Yeah, and this is like all on paper, like, once the geocon is over with, we might end up making more than what's in the budget. And so right now, the budget is balanced, but at the end of the year, we might have a profit, or we might have a, net gain.
Understanding that by balancing the budget, it included money that we shifted into a CD as savings, and then also savings and our budget. So just, and again, it's on paper, so the conversation today is an understanding that we're moving things from one line item to another line item.
I think we're ready for a motion, so.
Well, just keep in mind or have that written somewhere that we only have $300 to, cause out of nowhere now, I can guarantee you we're gonna have a speaker requesting some travel money. And now we only have $300 in there. It always happens, you know, when something happens like this and we're like, yeah, no problem, got 800, we can allocate that somewhere else. And then all of a sudden, we'll get a call tomorrow and they'll say, hey, you guys gonna help me out with this? It's like, shit, you know? But just, I would make a note somewhere in the budget saying, hey, that's, we're down to 300, so.
We could move just enough to cover today and then see how Geocom does, and
We should do that too.
maybe that makes it more complicated, but we don't need $500 for today's lunch unless somebody got champagne. I didn't get champagne.
14 bottles.
I skipped.
Yeah.
Eric, we better go change your order.
So much money, what's?
It's good and all the fun.
You got one too.
So it's 90 then, plus whatever we end up spending on lunch today,
Yes.
whatever it is, $90.04.
So do I need to, I guess, adjust my motion that I made earlier to, approve covering today's lunch expenses out of the speaker travel line item that we have in the budget right now? Cover today's lunch.
Plus the existing deficit of.
Oh, plus the
$90.
existing deficit of the $90 listed on the budget.
$90.04.
Oh, so we're just gonna make it zero then. So whatever today is plus the 90, and we'll just make it zero. Okay.
I'll second.
Well, it's like,
All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. All right, so the motion is approved to pay for lunch today out of the travel budget and to cover the deficit. All right, so that takes care of general board business, and we'll move on to the review of the 2024 budget. And Nate will be presenting, and he's given some handouts if you don't have them. Let
Nate, do you have extra one for Rob over here?
We can share.
Or we can share it, we'll be fine if not.
We got it.
We got enough over here between all of us.
Okay, so what I thought I would do, I don't think we ever went line by line through the budget, since we passed it, so. Just go through line by line really quick, and kind of explain what each line item does and pays for. And, also included in this document is a column showing the amount that we've spent to date for each category. And so I was thinking, yeah, just go through this really quick and maybe hold off on any big conversation until the end, and we can come back to spots that we have questions. So starting on line one is, so this top part is general revenue and interest. This is the interest that we earned from our Wells Fargo savings account. The next one is investment, and this is the interest earned from the CD that we have. And currently that's $30,000 in a 6-month CD, which is set to mature on March 6th. That will coming up. The next item is the membership revenue, and this is the amount that we typically receive in membership dues. You can see that we've received some membership dues already, and most of our membership dues are renewed in March, and so we'll see this increase by quite a bit as people are registering for the GeoCon. And the next section is the revenue generated from the GeoCon. And currently, no one's registered, which is expected, because I don't think it's not open. So,
3 more weeks.
yeah, and so, yeah, next is sponsorships and the revenue generated from that. And currently we have 2 gold sponsors that have come in. One was in December and the other one was in January. And then workshops. This is the revenue generated from people attending workshops at the Geo conference. And yeah, I guess I just want to also point out that these 3 values are just all estimates, and they're estimated by just looking back at previous years and kind of guessing what what we would expect, for the following year. Moving on to expenses, this first part is expenses from the Geo conference. We have equipment expenses, which include audiovisual facilities, and then also food. And these are, these amounts are in contract with the Delta. So there's not much adjustment for those. We're gonna be charged $3,000 for audio and visual, and then $12,000 just to use the rooms here at the Delta. There is Michelle does negotiate with the hotel, kind of to balance the food minimum with facility costs and audio visual sometimes, so I think those can be negotiated when the contract is, usually created with like.
Yeah, I don't think there's a minimum for this hotel though, so.
Yeah.
It's part of the. Yeah, part of the issue.
Next we have speaker expenses, appreciation, so this is. Gifts that we give the speakers and presenters at the workshops, and we usually provide something like chocolates or some other.
Some local ones.
Yeah,
Something local. Yeah, we've done popcorn.
yeah, and that's usually around $1,000. Next is fees and honorariums. And so this includes, the fees that, workshop instructors like Eric Pimpler and David Howe's charge to kind of put on their workshops. And they charge a percentage of each workshop attendee, so, yes, this value can also fluctuate based on like the number of people who attend their workshop and how much revenue is generated there. Next we have, speaker and instructor travel. Last year we spent $684, to pay for an instructor's plane ticket to get to the Geo conference. And then the last time we used it was back in 2019, spent $250. So it's not used every year, it's just kind of there if we need it, I think, so. Next, we have, supplies, geocon supplies, swag, printing and reproduction. And so, yeah, a lot of these things, the conference committee and Michelle will buy this for the conference. And then we've decided to kind of clump conference and general swag together. And so I think the idea was that when swag is purchased for the conference, they would purchase more. And so if we had extra, we could use that throughout the year to kind of give away at meetups and such. Next, we have operating expenses. We have administration costs, the communication specialist position, accounting, postage, and admin, travel and lodging. And so this first one is administration. This is to pay for full scopes administration services for us.
You pay it twice a year.
It's.
I'm guessing twice a year that you pay them.
No, we pay them
Monthly.
Well, it's monthly, oh,
Yeah. And it usually increases about 3%
Oh, I
each
see,
year. Yeah. And then accounting, this is, we work with Mary Archibald over in Missoula. She helps us file our taxes every year, and it's, around $420 each time. Postage, yep, that's just an expense to buy stamps and envelopes. And admin, travel, lodging, this is to, pay for Michelle's Michelle's cost. So anytime she attends a Magip board meeting or in-person board meetings, they'll include a travel stipend. And so, yeah, I can't remember the exact cost, but it's so many cents per mile.
Some of that was probably your trip of Kalispell with me as well.
Yeah.
Visit those sites for 2026.
Yep. And then also her travel to the Geo conference and stay there. We pay for her lodging.
What about the trip over for our strategic planning event? Did that include that as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Anytime, yeah, Michelle has to hop in the car and do something for us.
Mhm.
That's why it was nice in Missoula, because we didn't have to pay a lot of that, because she was already there.
Next we have web services, so software. Each month we pay QuickBooks, $35. To that service. And conferencing, this is to pay for our Zoom video conference. That's $155 per year. And then we have hosting, this is to pay for our Wild Epcot subscription. And this year we purchased a 2-year subscription. And so that pays, yeah, for 2 years of Wild Epcot. And there was, yeah, about $100 savings per year for that. So that's kind of why we decided to purchase that instead of the 1 year.
So is that amount of $4,896, does that mean we've already spent more than that this year?
Yeah, yeah, so, yeah, when we made this budget, they had listed $4,896 as the cost of a 2-year subscription. But when taxes and fees were done, it was actually $4,908.
Oh, okay.
That's why there's that difference.
$12 more.
Payment processing, so, yeah, there's a percentage of each transaction that's made through Wild Apricot. So if someone pays for something through Wild Apricot, it goes through this company called Affinipay, and they charge a certain percentage on each one of those credit card transactions.
So for memberships?
And that's for memberships and Geo conference registration and workshops and all of that. And so, yeah, you can see it's only been $70.73 so far. But most of the transactions that are going to be coming through Affinipay are going to happen this spring when people are signing up for the conference. So that's going to increase by, yeah, quite a bit this spring. Next we have RTS Online. And so our subscription there is $700. Next we have the Montana annual report. And so each year, yeah, Magip has to register our business with the Secretary of State. And typically that's $20. But for the past few years, I think Greg Gianforte has been feeling pretty nice, and so he's actually waived that fee. So we haven't had to pay that for the past couple of years, but I just keep it in there until, just in case. Next we have taxes. This is just federal taxes that is withheld from any interest that we earn in our Wells Fargo savings account. Board travel, and so this section is going to include our strategic planning meeting and representing Magip at other events. And so, yeah, this year it's included our stay at the El Western, and only half of it because we actually made a deposit back in March of 2024. And so you can see that we still have room in the budget there. But that's good because we have room for a deposit this year. If we find a place that needs to have a deposit. Food, and yeah, we just talked about this, so this is going to increase to cover today's expense and cover the $90 that we've already gone over. Board of directors, and so, yep, we're covered as a board, by insurance to cover anything that, get sued for or stuff like that. And so that's paid, quarterly, and it's $710 per year. Program expenses, so this includes GIS Day, the longevity award, and poster competition. GIS Day, yeah, we budgeted $175 to,
Go ahead.
for the GIS Day math contest.
Technically, there are 2 awards currently. And one's called livability and one is distinguished service. There is no longevity.
There's a financial something that goes with receiving those awards?
No.
No, we have to purchase that class.
Oh,
And do you
okay.
remember how much those were, Jeff?
Huh?
And do you remember how much?
I think they're usually $200. We'd have to look at last year's budget, but yeah. But obviously that fluctuates too, because, we're not awarding any, obviously, it's every even year. And then we may choose to just award one, and not both, so, but yeah, I think those plaques are usually $200, but since we switched for being locally, because I think it used to be closer to 300 or 400, because we used to go out of state for those, so I'm glad we switched the vendor, and then it's easier for shipping as well, because Michelle can just pick them up and deliver them to us, so.
And I think it's the only thing left in our budget that doesn't recur every year. And so I don't know that we wanna have that discussion now, but maybe when we're coming up with our budget
Yeah.
for next year, consider maybe just having one annual award and like,
We need one every other year, because there's 2 awards, is that right?
we don't have to keep those awards. Those are just, so we can discuss doing one every other year or coming up with a whole new award.
You could still have an application for 2, but maybe the committee could just choose like the best candidate to fit either award. Because the 2 awards are very different for obvious reasons. I mean, I don't think we should probably just shoehorn both into one. But yeah, I mean, I think we should probably talk about it maybe in June or something. Do we want to continue? Because I know the planners, I think they do 2 or 3 awards, but they do them every year. So I think previous years when we discussed this, I think the reason why we kept it every other year, even though we went to every year at the conference, is we didn't want to have these like essentially, run out of candidates or make it kind of stale to award these every year, so it's.
Feels more
it's just-
prestigious.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was kind of the thing about the every other year is there's something to look forward to for that conference, but I can see Megan's point of just maybe combining it to one so that we're awarding something every year, so.
So what are the awards called, livability?
And distinguished service award.
Thank you.
Yeah. Distinguished service was the one that, Aaron actually got, and then Chris
Oh,
DeVault,
right.
got awarded for livability last year. But I think prior years before that, I think we just awarded one award, and each of the 24 and then the 22 conference, I think there was just one awardee.
There was the JS Education Award, there's been special appreciation awards.
Yeah.
The Distinguished Service started in 2000, Professional Livability started in 2008.
Yeah, I think in 22, I think we awarded Michelle the special recognition. But we didn't do 3 awards that year. I think we only had enough for one, and then we just decided to do a special award for her. So there is a possibility of doing a special award every now and then too.
I think it makes sense to have one a year.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't, it doesn't seem to make sense to skip a year, and nobody gets it again.
I would agree with that. What's the dollar amount that you usually put on that? Was it 300 or 500 for the class? Do you have
I
any?
can look at
Yeah.
The library association, they have like 10 awards or something, but one of them is like program, so. And one of them is like person.
Oh,
So-
interesting.
So
Okay.
like you could nominate like the city of Bozeman or a
Mm.
county or
Mhm.
DNRC or.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time, I think, since we've had an awards conversation. Well, we're not set on these two. I do like the program award.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of opens up new candidates, and obviously new programs to be awarded something and. Yeah, I do look at it.
You got a number?
Yeah, so in 2024, we spent $156.20 on 2 awards.
Yeah, so it's about $100 flat. If you think about it roughly.
And the recognition.
Priceless. Can't put a price on
And
it.
then we know every year
All the
that we'll
years.
have an award ceremony at the dinner instead of this year, we're like.
Right.
"What are we
Yes.
Yeah.
doing?"
I agree with that. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so planning ahead.
Then we want to budget an extra $100 per year for following. Is that?
Yeah, give or take. I mean, I think.
I think it remains to be seen if we're just gonna give out 1 award or 2 awards a year.
I say we have that conversation in June.
I agree.
Because I mean, we'd be talking about the 2027 conference at this point. Because we're set this year already. We're not opening awards, so.
I think we could make that happen,
26.
like, yeah, we could keep the same awards or we could change it
Yeah.
for next year.
Yeah. But yeah,
I
so,
don't think we should wait till 2027 to change the awards program.
yeah, I get that too. But we'd be looking at probably the minimum of 2026 if we were to change like which awards that we give out or a selection of awards.
Yeah.
Either or, but conversation for another day, I think.
Alright, and yeah, next we have the posters. And we have budgeted $800, and this covers the map contest at the Geothon. And we budgeted $575 for that. It also includes the MSU Earth Science Symposium. And there we give out the top 3 prizes, which are $100, 75, and 50. And we've done that every year.
Is there a reason why we have this under posters and program expenses and awards and not just in our, the Earth Science Colloquium in our, request for assistant budget? Did we move it out of there
Yeah, I think, a couple years ago, I think we moved it out of there.
or?
And I think the idea was it's something we expect every year. But yeah, that might be a good conversation. If we do want them to submit request for assistance, then maybe it makes sense, but.
I think they still do a request for assistance, but we kind of just earmark that money that we dedicate to a colloquium come out of this, that's why.
Well, and I see the request for assistance as the meetups, which is separate from the poster awards. It makes sense to me to keep them separated.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Agreed.
Next is the grants and scholarships. So here we have $3,000 budgeted for, awarded to K through 12 educators. And then the Magip higher education, also $3,000, and these are scholarships awarded to higher ed students. Next we have, member support. And so the category of membership requests for assistance, including and not limited to conference registration, workshop, and travel costs. Next we have,
I just need to point out that $216 for member support is. Yeah, doesn't amount to much,
All right,
that is sort of silly.
We could not have just put that, I mean, there, we must have.
Well, we also, we
Why
also,
did we come up with
You need
216?
more 17?
we also have to request the meetups line item is separate, but that goes through the request for assistance as well, right? Like,
We don't.
Well, I don't
Let's
know, is
just
that
stop
what happened
calling
there,
it
is that what?
request for assistance, because it doesn't exist anymore,
I-
right?
I think it's,
Member support, I
I
guess.
mean, how do we get to 216?
Yeah,
I think it's what we had left.
Okay, I mean, that's, there's no way we budgeted 216.
so with the member support being under the grants and scholarships,
Sounds budget.
it's an idea. It's an idea I had a while ago and like the neighbors supported that. But, so we have, grants and scholarships for students, but, students come in all forms. And we have professionals who want to attend workshops and things. And so I thought it would be an interesting idea to have a resource for our members that they could apply for. Right? So currently, we don't have, given how we've got things allocated, we don't have a lot in there. The main thing I see right there on that page is $800 for posters. Seems like maybe something could be shifted to member support. Nobody knows about that yet, about the member support, right? It's a program we would want to unveil, roll out and let the membership know of. Right? I remember when Python was a big deal, everybody wanted to take Python workshops, things of that nature. Anyway, that's an idea. I'd like you to give it some thought. If that's something we want to support with our budget. I thought it would be interesting and I heard support for that from the membership. I thought, oh yeah, we'd like to apply for, an opportunity to reduce costs in one form or another. So something to think about,
Can I ask a question? I think that 200, this is sort of a question, maybe comment. Wasn't the $216 on that line item, money that came from the, CDs? Isn't it the interest on the CDs and we earmarked it for member support when we passed the budget? That's what I think that was from, because we were looking at the dollars that we would, generate from having a CD. And it's weird to everybody's point that it's $216, but I feel like that's where that came from. Maybe not.
Maybe, but, we can't even buy lunch for $216.
I agree.
So it's, it's an empty gesture.
Mhm. I think we should take that money and put it towards the poster awards and the colloquium and increase the amounts that
Are
we
we
get
really
for that.
doing a lot of good with the posters?
The thing with the posters too is that most people that participate can't actually accept the money. Like you can't, like as a state employee, accept that. I have to either give it back to the state or just donate it. I promise you.
Yeah, let's not talk about that right now.
But.
Yeah. I think that there may be some question about that, but on the colloquium, those are actually students. So, they're able to accept that.
The
And we've
students, I
done
think we
poster
should
contests
give
and
money
given
to students, but
as an award. Okay,
It seems
well-
like a lot of money to give away to.
yeah, I mean, I'm there on
For what
working time,
purpose?
so.
And I
So what are we
think
doing with this? What are we getting out of that?
more
Participation.
More participation,
But-
Right?
but, I mean, if you get like 4 posters and everybody just gets money.
All right, I'm gonna like pull everybody back in and ask Nate to finish going through, the budget so that we can, stay on time.
I'm gonna add one comment. I would be a big supporter of shifting more money to member support and making, resources, conferences accessible to, maybe early professionals that don't have those finances, to pursue that.
Or people that
comment.
work doesn't pay for it.
Yep. I'm like, right with you there.
Yeah.
All right, and then, so next in the budget, we had the student conference report. And, we budgeted $900 for that. And so this supports the students who receive those education awards. So the Magip Higher Ed Award and also the Van Shellhammer K through 12 Education Award. If they're traveling more than 100 miles, then Magip gives them $150 to offset some of their travel costs. And so it's $900. Yeah, because the number of students and educators who could be given the award.
I thought that also was the amount we have for student scholarships in general, not just for previous scholarship winners.
No,
No,
we put
but I
that,
don't
we
see-
put that money together for the purpose of supporting that travel package.
So then we don't have a line item for student scholarships.
Well, the students, like, again, can we please stop calling it student scholarships? 'Cause we're
What do you wanna call it? Student travel awards.
Slave,
student
slave
stipends,
labor.
conference.
Yeah,
slave-
They're not even having to do anything.
I know.
I
So
think
it's
that
not
was
even that.
What the hell are you doing?
I think
Changing
that's,
It-
that's where
all
the
it is
Change membership support.
yeah, that's where that's coming from.
I mean,
Okay.
all it is like.
That was not clear at the last conference.
And what is
We just get registration.
What is Jenny asking for? Every
That's
time-
what I'm asking,
Yeah,
right?
that's what, that's.
So
what
so
it's-
Jenny is asking, because she's putting out a letter soon to the schools. And she usually in this letter, she was asking about this at the last meeting that, she puts in, yeah,
I mean,
we provide a stipend of money for you to come here. We got like up to 10 people or something
But
like
it's
that.
not though, is it?
Well, I don't know.
It's
That's what I'm
just-
at-
It's
that's
just
what I'm
free registration.
No, it's money on top of free registration. Free registration essentially,
Why?
it gets
Why
dissolved
are
in
you
their
doing
budgets.
that if they're not actually doing it?
Well, I think that at the last meeting that we had in the strategic planning meeting, when we were talking about.
Yeah, I think I surveyed it.
Right? I mean.
I'm sorry, could I finish? Could I just,
I don't think I
okay,
got it,
I would
but
just like to
I might
say
have.
that at the last strategic planning meeting that we had, when Michelle was in the room, we were talking about all of the sessions. And that we would have students that would help to be in the sessions so that we could have somebody to help with setting up the audiovisual equipment as well as taking account of the number of people that were in the room. And it does sound like that was something that was happening prior to Michelle coming on board, and then that kind of backed off, and also because of COVID also backed off. So I think that having the students in the room, I don't wanna call it slave labor, but it definitely is an opportunity for them to come and participate and help us in the actual rooms when the sessions are happening.
I would say too, that often Michelle needs to take a moment away from the front desk. And
Yeah.
we always used to have a student
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
so that she could take a break. And
So-
that there would still be somebody manning the desk.
Yeah.
I know-
But I would like them to be able to participate in the conference, that's why they should be there too, and not just be at the desk.
I know we also talked about them being in the rooms as well. So,
The moderators.
yeah, moderators.
Moderators.
That's the word.
Been like trying to think
I know.
what that was. Jeez.
Okay, so what are we doing?
We're reviewing the budget.
No, but what are we doing?
We're reviewing the budget and we're going off on tangents. Let's review the budget,
We're at
make
the-
notes, and when you guys do the budget in a couple months, you can make these comments.
We're at the end of that review.
Not quite.
Yeah, I'm just trying to decide, figure out, okay, making sure that the money here, sorry, was just that 900 is only for previous scholarship winners.
And so the
Grant
remaining
recipient.
amount,
That's all.
There.
and so, yeah, it's reserved for that,
Okay.
but the remaining amount can be split up based on
Okay.
requests we receive. So it's most likely that $900 will not be spent, like, yeah. And so there's gonna be a remaining amount that we can use to support.
Thank you. Okay, so let's finish up the budget. Did you do the meetups already? The last line item for the meetup and the,
Yeah, the last line item
Okay.
is meetup and budgeted $1,500 for that. And so that covers meetups throughout the year and then the big meetup at the GeoCon.
okay. I realize that always going over the budget can be difficult and complicated because we're trying to understand from one year to the next year what's happening, and it's a rolling budget. We don't always know what it's gonna cost for the conference. And we obviously don't know how many people are going to be attending. And there has been ongoing conversations about how we're gonna support students coming to the conference, along with a couple of other comments that we had. So the intent today was not to make adjustments to the budget, but after today's thorough review of the budget, if anybody would like to make adjustments, we can talk about it at the next meeting. Please send me your comments and we'll put it on the agenda. And we can always make a modification to the budget, knowing that the money may not necessarily be in the line item budget, but there's also money in the CDs and in savings. Go ahead, Evan.
So I have to clarify that. So total expenses, 103, 125. Total revenue, 103, 125. So I think we're confused about savings, checkings and CDs. There's no extra. It's all balanced. It's all in here.
Yeah, but we also, we also,
No, the CD's not listed in here, that grant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's CD,
Oh,
revenue.
well, that's the revenue, that's not like the total amount.
but
that
the,
we
but the other
have.
thing you have to consider too is we've exceeded above and beyond our conference. What we take away from our conference, so what are we doing with that every year? We're only building our savings and stuff we put in our CDs. I get we're putting in our CDs to do something with later, but that's kind of where the extra money is coming from, and we need to do something with it, support our members.
Yeah, but that'll be a next year budget. Like once you have.
But you're
that
still
money.
balancing
You
it though.
can't pre-spend.
I know, but you're still balancing it though. You're
But
not
that-
doing anything with the surplus from last year.
It's like, it's shown in the GeoCon revenue. From last year, like we.
No, that's expected for this year, not from last year. So if you
No.
exceed the registration, if you exceed the revenue from last year, say like 5,000-6,000 like we have, we're not doing anything extra with that 5,000-6,000.
I don't know if
We're
that's
just
true.
putting it in the bank or putting it more into a CD. Yeah.
That's what's been happening.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
See, 1.4.
So there's that money for that we could bump up for member support. It's from a surplus of what we have from the previous year's conferences. It's an idea.
So we need like 2024 actual
And
revenue.
To see.
yeah, and I was just gonna say, so that's one of the things that we're seeing is that the money that we've budgeted doesn't necessarily get spent. So if you're looking at the line item, for instance, for travel for the keynote, the $800 that was allocated. We don't know if we're gonna allocate that, but we put the $800 in line item. So when we get to May and June, and that's actually on the list to talk about, that's when we know what the total expenses were. And I agree with you.
So do we like to keep like a buffer in our accounts? Like it's just, like, what's the fluctuation there?
I think it's only continued to grow over the last 5 years.
Well, I think it'd be good to set some sort of buffer for unexpected expenses, whether, on the board to decide on that amount, whether that's 5,000 or 10,000, anything above and beyond, we could roll into something like member support on an annual basis.
Love it.
Yeah, and that line item will fluctuate obviously depending on how we did at previous year's conference. So you roll that
Yeah.
money over to member support. So our members actually see that surplus instead of it just going into a bank account.
Cool, let's bring it up when we
Okay.
talk budget.
Okay.
On the.
We'll spend more time.
No, that, yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
As long as,
Okay.
it
I
just makes me
agree.
more
That's
comfortable
the
to
insurance
see
company.
like what's available instead of just like pulling these items. from
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah,
that if you, so this is the budget that you passed. So that's
Yeah.
saying each line item, this is what we want to allocate for that. But then when you look at the 2025 to date, that's how much money we spent to date. So really, we have about $99,000 that we have in our budget, which we know we're gonna spend.
Okay.
We're just not there yet. Okay. All right. Does anybody have any other comments about the budget? Any questions for Nate? Jack?
Well, the years that I've been here for the budget, Nate, you've done a wonderful job. I mean, this is well beyond me, the numbers and all this stuff. It's just that
I know.
every time we get the budget to zero and we approve it, I'm like, we're never gonna get to zero. We're always gonna end up in the minus, we're gonna end up in the plus, and for the last several years now, we've been up in the plus.
Yeah.
We just don't know,
Yeah,
but yes, all that extra money, where does that go? It just goes right into the bank, the savings and the checking.
I remember one year we were in the negative, and it was the year we didn't have the conference. That's the only thing that you can't anticipate for, but that's why you have that money rolling in the next year. So if you had something, you just wouldn't roll it in and remember to support the following year. So it's kind of dependent on your previous success.
Yeah, and so we kind of went over this back in June, but this is the net gain we've actually seen.
Are you showing them?
Yeah, I can.
That's on.
You might have to reshare, like stop sharing, reshare. from that.
Yeah, I might just be sharing the, ooh, I don't like. Get out of there.
Okay, yeah, so back in June, we went through these slides, and so this is the amount we've made the past 3 years.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. 68,000.
That's like our combined checking and savings.
Yep.
so we do spend a little extra.
Well, we put 500 towards the CD.
So we're approaching numbers prior to full scope. And that was kind of the point of going with full scope is, or I guess before then it was University of Montana Conference Planning Services is we were gonna invest in essentially hiring administration, go to an annual conference, and that's what, and so our numbers did tick down a little bit, probably from 2018 to like probably just before COVID, maybe after, but then things have been trending upwards ever since. So we're getting to that point. So we had probably 75,000 in our bank accounts prior to hiring staff. So we're approaching that number now. We are. So it's something to keep in mind.
Okay. Okay, any other questions for Nate about the budget?
Thank you so much for the thorough review, Nate. Really appreciate it.
It's a tough job, man.
Don't ever leave us.
You can go now.
All right.
Yeah, transitions between treasurers is hard.
Okay. Yeah, and actually that's on the list. So the next thing up on the agenda is to talk about the board elections. And we're a little bit over time, but I really felt like it was worth the discussion to go through the budget really thoroughly so that everybody understands where the money is allocated and how much money we have in checking, savings, and moving on to the board elections. I want to go through the positions that are up for the election in 2025. Includes scholarships and grants, that's Rob's position. Secretary, which is Hillary's position. Treasurer, which is Nate. There will be on VP president and past president, and also for Tessa's position for tech committee. That's a lot of positions that are gonna come up.
Well, there's a sixth position.
Then there's a six.
Yep, and then Jackson, I didn't forget, so that's the approval of Jackson, by the membership through a vote as, vice president, moving into the presidency and then past president.
I'll clarify that, Danielle. It's actually a separate position, like if
Oh,
anyone,
it is a
anyone,
separate position.
anyone could, so Mike could throw his hat in there
Okay.
and run against Jackson directly. So
I got it, okay,
It's open to the memberships.
got it,
Yep.
okay.
We just.
Thank you.
That's all. There's no confusion. And then we have everybody jumping on Jackson.
Yeah,
You wanna do another 4 more years?
yeah.
Well, that's only two, that's only 2-year commitment, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. So then also just wanted to talk about the positions that are not up for reelection yet. Megan Burns' position as web administrator. When Megan's position is up, that will be the first time that position has been, has changed. Well, this is the first year it's
And I was
official.
voted in.
Yes,
so-
yes, but you've been web administrator for,
So it got voted on.
yeah, so we made you official. So we could buy your lunch.
Right. I'm a real person. But that will be the first time that it will be up for, well, the
Oh,
second
the
time will be
second.
up for election.
Okay, so is yours 2 years?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and
All of them
then,
are 2 years except
Yeah.
for work.
that's nice. Okay,
DPP.
okay, conference liaison, which is Jeff. Past president, that will be me. Member development, which will be Helen. And then MGX representative, which will be Eric,
That's
assuming,
That doesn't get voted for us.
yes, I was getting
Oh,
there,
sorry.
thank you.
I mean, I just see it on.
I was just gonna ask him if he was planning on making any changes, so is that something that you are appointed or you volunteer for?
That's
Or did they
that's a
say
good question.
voluntold?
Both,
It's appointed,
It's appointed,
it is appointed by the council, but it's
Okay.
based on people stepping up to
Right.
thank you.
be nominated to do it.
Yeah.
We appreciate
And
it.
then Eric, are you on through like 2026 or?
You know, we were all bulk of us were all reappointed last year, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
And so I don't know, the cycle on the council is supposed to be staggered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I don't think that's been resolved yet on the staggering of those members. Because, cause there's a bunch of us that all received our governor letters last year or the year before maybe.
I think it was.
And so, I know in the new rules, there is a staggering written into it, I thought.
Yep.
And last time I was on their site, I don't recall them showing a done date next to our names. So, I meant to ask that at the last council meeting, but the last council meeting had a lot of stuff going on. So, with the legislature in town, we had a lot of things with the last meeting last week, so.
Okay, we'll find out.
If, when it comes up, we'll see. I know that some others had expressed interest in returning to the mega board as well, and so. If there's others, who knows, I may step back and let others.
Since you're ending July 2025.
Oh, well, there you go. So I'm done this year.
Just ask Megan.
And then that will be an
That wasn't
appointed,
that wasn't on the.
I think that
council's-
just
That's not on the council's thing.
I don't know when.
Okay.
Yeah, posted.
So that should be on the council agenda.
Okay. thank you.
I'll have to visit with Aaron.
Ellen, got 2027, so there.
So they do have it there.
Yeah.
Eric, don't reappoint you, I think.
Oh, that depends on me submitting a letter to the governor. So,
That is true, yeah.
I'll make sure you tell them we said hi.
I never spoke with him.
All right.
Being recorded.
Okay, are there any questions or concerns, comments about the elections that are coming up and the ballot?
I haven't even, well, I mean, just because I'm doing the elections, again this year, I haven't looked at the dates
Okay,
and everything yet, and how it's gonna fit with the 2-week voting schedule and all that, and with our conference and everything, I'm assuming. But obviously, that's a bad thing to do, that it's gonna fall like it did last year. But, certainly, let's get the word out, so we don't have what we had last year. I would prefer to have everything filled, would be good,
Do you guys want me back for another round?
yes.
so.
Keep it coming.
I'll be back.
Re-elected all around.
So, but anyway, I mean, I haven't looked at it and I'll get it out to everybody, to let everybody know the schedule, what everything's gonna look like and stuff,
Okay,
definitely before time allows. But feel free to get the word out now.
yeah, and I actually would like to talk about, sorry, I'm gonna pull the budget back up again, because the budget's really important and Nate is stepping out of that position. I don't know if you're, and I'm not gonna put you on the spot and ask you if you are or not running, but let's assume that Nate's not going to be there. So there's, a couple things about the budget and the schedule that sort of collide in May, June, and July. So the first one is in May, we have to approve the election.
Yeah, May is the end of the election gets done with in May,
Okay,
and then all the new people are officially become members at June 1.
okay,
And we have an orientation for them, usually before the June meeting, to get them familiar with everything May.
okay,
And then in June, the June meeting is an in-person meeting.
okay,
That we have everybody there, and hopefully, and we invite the past members, so say Nate, for example, is not gonna be a treasurer again, but we will invite him to the June meeting to meet the new treasurer, to maybe help him out, help him or her out, you know, with the transition and stuff, so we can move forward with that.
so I have,
That's been passed.
yep, no, I think that's great, and I think that's one reason why I wanted to talk through this, so Jackson will take, assuming that Jackson wins the election as president and past president in April, and then he becomes official in June.
Right.
He become, we're gonna call, you are official, but officially official by the vote of the members on June 1, you'll
Okay.
take over the presidency,
Yep.
and then I'll become the past president.
Okay,
So there's a couple things that'll happen during June. The first one is, we need to talk, so there's an in-person meeting, and then there's the orientation meeting that Mike was just talking about. I think that the orientation is a Zoom meeting.
Yes, it can be,
Okay.
yes, absolutely.
Okay, and then there's an in-person meeting that's like this meeting, and that happens later in June, and it's really important to get that scheduled, just so that you know that's coming.
yeah,
And the location of it, so that we can get, and then as Mike just said, invite the past president, and then
Well,
during, sorry.
The past people.
Yep, the past people,
Yep.
yep. And then, during that meeting, the conversation about the budget, so that in July, we can actually pass the budget.
okay,
Or talk heavily about the budget in July. And then. if
ideally
there's-
pass it and
Ideally.
there's still loose.
Yeah.
If there's still loose ends, August, in my mind, and this is just completely me. By August, I feel that the budget should be passed.
Yeah, fiscal year starts-
I think we would had enough discussion.
Yeah.
With the June and the July meetings. And anything else via email and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's totally me,
No, I
but
agree.
that's how I feel now.
Yeah, if the fiscal year begins the 1st of July, ideally it would be passed in June. But last
Right.
year, we had Nate, thank God, to walk us through, and we didn't have a VP at the time, so there was a lot of discussion about that as well. But in that June meeting, all of those new people need to be able to understand what's happening with the budget. So,
And it's a little hard to get them familiar with the budget and ask them to vote on it that same day.
yes,
Well,
exactly,
exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
So the in-person meeting in June, and then ideally vote on it in July, and then we had a lot of discussion back and forth, with regard to, any comments about what was happening with the budget, and then,
Yeah, not seeing the future, I have a feeling we'll have more conversation about the budget
yeah.
in July.
And then I would also add that, the strategic planning meeting, that's the meeting that happens in
Yeah.
September. That's what Nate was talking about. There's actually money in the budget for, so we put, Nate, so we put half of the allocated money down for the L Western. Yeah, so deposit of half, 50%.
Mhm.
But in the past, everybody that's in the room, can we talk about all the places that we've had those strategic planning meetings, because they haven't always been so expensive.
Yeah.
So,
I mentioned a couple at the Jackson,
Yeah.
double arrow up at Sealy Lake.
There you go.
University of Montana has a experiment station, Blue Brick, it's just down the road from Sealy, obviously, it's closer to Paws Up.
Okay.
We were at Red Lodge, that was right on budget.
Yep,
I think when Jenny was president, I think they had it, at this camp, I think south of
Okay.
Livingston. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, the Luck Park Camp or whatever it's
Yeah.
called.
yeah,
okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
but some of these are,
LUCCOCK.
some of these places are
Okay.
very popular, so
Yeah.
like, Mike mentioned to Jackson, I think they probably
Yeah.
need to start
He
looking
needs
at
to
that
start
now.
looking at it now, or
Yep.
putting it back in his head that he needs to start pretty quick.
There's
Right.
another
Make it
camp by
focused.
Showdown. Oh, we should, the Rotary.
You just want to see it.
Yeah.
And so-
Today.
nothing wrong with that. September's a little early, but it's also a little late. So there's a sweet spot when we look at
Yeah.
the calendar, right? Like what your schedule allows for.
Yeah.
And then being past.
Yeah, it's usually
Yeah.
past the heavy, like, wedding season.
Yeah.
The camps
The
are
kids go
all
back to
done,
school, right?
That's-
People aren't on vacation.
What about Chico?
And when.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, we
Expensive.
talked about that, that was on the list.
Is it? Okay,
It
never mind.
was.
Virginia
Same
City.
thing with
I gotta
Fairmont.
go.
I know, right? Well, and there's that, and so that was the conversation, so, sorry to interrupt, so
No.
Jeff Sprock, he had looked at some different places, and he was looking at some of the lesser expensive places and just couldn't get a response back, and so he ended up booking it in
And the con.
Anaconda, right?
Mm.
And that was the first time that we had done a more formal kind of setting, and that's,
It was a
yeah.
good time.
Yeah, and then the El Western was, Michelle and I were looking at places where we could get people to come in. It ended up being a little bit more expensive. So, anyway, those, just some ideas and comments about what we've done, but probably looking in advance at the date for that.
You don't have, when you become president.
Yeah.
Feel free to have a meeting with the past president. I'm certainly available if I'm still around, or if I'm not around, I'm still available. Feel free to contact me. The schedule, that's when, like sometime in the early June, maybe before orientation, is when you set the year schedule.
Yeah.
This is what I've done in the last couple of years, where I've gone through everything, I've helped Jeff. He's the one that set me up with this, doing this way. You know, go through a little calendar, see when all the days off are. You know, usually our meetings are every Tuesday, third Tuesday of the month. And then every quarterly, we have a in-person meeting. So that's why it falls on June. You don't have to have a strategic planning meeting in September. We've had it in October a couple times. Doesn't even have to be that late either. It could be earlier if you feel the need.
Yeah, it's been a June before, but the challenge with that is.
Exactly.
You have to be planning for it.
Yeah, you better be planning for it now, you know, you just gotta figure that out. My point is that, you know, get with us, you know, the board, you know, say, look, this is gonna be the schedule for the year, you know, get the outlook meeting invites out there.
Yeah.
And
if we need to put a down deposit, we have what's remaining in the lodging facility rental. That remaining $700 or just under $700 basically, right?
you're
Yes.
right,
Yeah.
and, yeah, that's gotta be, I put that note in my budget, that we were talking about that we need to start planning for. When we do the budget, that we are gonna be paying for next year's stuff
Yeah,
in the future kind of thing, and we're gonna have to take that into account, that we're gonna be dipping in for next year's,
yeah.
you know, like cut, was it paying for half now and half later, is that what it was?
Yeah, and that was something that happened, so that was, I think last year was the first year that we had done that, where we paid the deposit in advance. And so Nate and I had a discussion before this meeting to talk about how we wanted to present that, because we wanted people to know that there actually was $1,600 there, I think was the full amount, but that we had paid part of it out of the 2024 fiscal year budget. So just because there's money left there doesn't mean that it's actually can be moved around within the budget. It's for you to use for the deposit, or would be like carryover into the next year.
Yeah.
Right, so, and that just depends on where you decide you wanna have it, yeah. But the option to be able to have that money for the deposit kind of opens up the locations, especially
Mhm.
in Montana where you're looking at locations that could be booked because of,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right,
To circle back to that, the budget thing, it was approved in August last year, the prior 2 years it was approved in July, so last year was kind of an exception.
oh, I thought we approved it in July.
No, we approved it in August. Yeah,
Oh, okay,
August.
okay,
But the previous 2 years it had been in July.
July, okay.
July, I think is the target. I think there was just,
So we were
I think there was just enough questions in July, we weren't ready for it, I think if I remember right. So
Mhm.
that's why we kind of just tabled it and moved it to the next one.
Okay. Okay, any other comments about the board elections?
I can be on your committee night.
Okay, that was gonna
Thank
be my,
you.
is there gonna be, like a separate meeting to talk about recruiting? Do you want something like that for support?
No,
Okay,
not really. I don't see the point in that. I mean, everybody, you talk to the people, talk to people, everybody knows everybody.
Especially at the conference. yeah.
We're not, the conference is a big thing for us to be promoting ourselves. I mean, Megan saying she's gonna help me, she's just helping me with the website and, setting things up and everything like that, and looking at the ballots and everything, making sure I'm doing it fairly. Cause she thinks I cheat.
You're not gonna rig the election?
Are we switching to mail then? Is that what we're doing?
Mail that, that's right, mail that.
Why mix and match?
Chads,
Counting by hand.
That's your job.
hanging chads.
all right. So we're actually a little bit ahead of schedule again, surprisingly. So if there's no other questions about the board elections, no other comments about board elections, we'll move on to the committee chair updates. And we're actually starting with, yep, we're doing conference planning, which is also the committee chair
Oh,
update.
yes.
Yeah, that's okay.
Ellen, do you want to share your news or do you want to save for your update?
Sure, I'll
Since it's
I'll
more-
steal
since it's more
some
fun.
of Jeff's thunder. You guys, I'm really excited to share that, we have locked in John Nelson for our 2026 keynote speaker. So, I'm very excited to be able to provide that opportunity for learning to our members. Woohoo!
We got keynotes.
So keynote, and he's also agreed to do, one or more workshops, which will be, I think, just a wonderful, I know, a great learning opportunity for me and probably a good, thing to draw people in for the 2026 conference. So, exciting news. Appreciate the support from the committee on, making sure we have that $500 towards the keynote. And I expect when we talk about the budget, the line item that is for travel that's been used for not keynotes, but for our workshop presenters like Randy in 2024, that we'll be purchasing his plane ticket on his behalf. And there may be, if it's more than $500, we would maybe earmark some of what we've used for technical workshop presenters to, cover some of the balance of that travel.
That's something we agreed on, not that I've,
No,
we
we
agreed on the 500.
Yeah, for the keynote
Yeah.
speaker, and separate from that, in addition as a workshop presenter.
Oh,
last,
workshop.
last year,
Randy got here.
yeah, this line item for instructor travel, if it goes over the $500 we approved, because he's gonna give a workshop in addition to a keynote, that we would use that to cover any balance that goes beyond $500. And we'll be buying the plane ticket, so we would have control over what that.
What's $800, isn't it?
Well, this 800, but we have a 500 that we already talked about for the specific
Well, we-
keynote.
So you did tell him that we would do the 500?
Well,
And he was good about that?
Well, he was saying, well, can Magip purchase it on my behalf? And then, I had a conversation with Gail and Jeff, and we talked about that last year we were able to cover, a workshop presenter's plane ticket with this, $800 that's earmarked for that travel. And so if it costs more than $500 that we approved, it's in the budget. And so we talked about being able to use that to cover any remaining balance.
Well done.
So yay, very
I know,
excited.
so excited.
That's gonna be awesome.
Okay, bringing the mood,
Appreciate
bringing the
that.
mood to the whitefish. Yeah.
Bring it back to 2025.
Back to 2025, speaking of keynote, we do have a keynote for this year's conference, which obviously is important. It's Scott Hoffman, he's a Esri Solutions Director. He's out of the kind of the same area as John Nelson's, out of the Michigan area. He's the former Esri Local Government Solutions Team Lead, and he's had prior experience, because he actually goes back to 2008, being with Esri, but he has a prior local government tech background with other organizations, kind of central in the Michigan area. So he's well versed with that, and Gail actually had the idea, talking with Andrew, of getting involved in the local government SIG session that we're gonna have at the conference as well. He also agreed to doing kind of a session, probably like the afternoon. Well, just to see when he's gonna be available, maybe it's the next morning. But it's gonna, this session is just gonna be on leveraging RTS solutions in the organization. So probably gonna be an hour-long talk, but we'll probably have that after the keynote, just so people aren't, yeah, so kind of a peek sneak of the keynote, and then he'll go more in depth at a session. Call for presentations, as many of you probably have seen, we've extended it to this Friday. So get your presentations in if you
I
plan
have a
on
question
presenting.
about that.
Go for it.
It's when you click on it to register, there's oral presentation or there's a poster option. Are we not having a separate poster registration?
I think, so last year we had, we just had it all wrapped up into the same form, I guess. Did we
There
not?
were two.
Michelle, oh, shoot. Cause yeah, we already have two poster registrations on that.
Which is
form.
fine, we only put out a call
Yeah.
for presentation,
Yeah,
and there's nowhere to put
well, I mean, Michelle
your
could.
web app. I can do it, I'm just asking
Yeah.
what we wanna do.
I think it's probably a separate form, but like you'll probably have to move those two registrations into the other
We can do
registration.
that.
I
Probably,
remember.
so must just be like a radio button or a drop down to specify oral presentation.
Yeah, I can just remember.
Gosh, I thought she said that it
Hide
came
that
from
option.
last year's form, okay.
On that note, is there, I was wondering if there's a place, and I don't think there is, to submit like abstracts for workshops? Could we add that? Or is that?
It's more just.
We could
Regular
definitely
thing.
do
Put
that.
that in like the conference
sketch.
program?
Yeah.
In the
That's
past,
sketch
we
up.
just used like survey 1, 2, 3 or.
Oh, okay,
but
gotcha.
Yeah, 'cause
Cause
I-
like,
Whatever's easier.
everybody's
for you.
like, I didn't see the presentation thing, or I saw the presentation thing, not like the workshop deal, so they've just been like emailing me, but if there's like a formal place that we could set that up, that'd be
yeah,
awesome.
that's a good idea, actually.
But we had that.
I did too.
Not
I
for
haven't seen it.
workshop,
Not
not
for
for
workshops?
the, no, we've always just emailed back and forth
Oh,
and then.
Or like
put it in
Michelle
the-
puts it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause we've had a couple proposals from like the NASA guy, that he sent me the initial email and I forwarded it to you.
Like, yeah, they've just been emailing me with their stuff
Yeah.
and like, and eventually, if they don't email me, they get a hold of Michelle and send her all that information, so.
That's for the abstract, right?
Yeah, for like,
Cause the
this is what we
abstracts
wanna
can
do.
be uploaded onto Sketch, so I don't think we have the Sketch
That's,
up yet, yeah,
It's all email and then schedule usually just,
got it,
yeah,
okay.
and then she just moves over what she gets. But
Set it up in survey 1, 2, 3, I think that would be
Mhm.
better.
okay,
And then put
And
it on the
then it's
website.
not like cause we don't want everybody applying for a workshop and registering to put one on,
yeah,
You
just.
know,
Yeah.
to, like,
so
put
it's
them
like
out there.
you're really just sending it to the people you've already talked to have them fill it out.
yeah, so it'd be kind of a hidden form, more or less.
You don't
Not
want
necessarily
everybody
have it
trying
on
to
your
do-
website.
I mean, I just don't wanna confuse them.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, what am I signing up for? No, you're not signing up for the workshop.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be an email that gets sent after they, say that they want to sign up to do a session. Am I confusing this with the like the abstract is,
It'd be nice if they could put their abstract into
Into
a
it.
form.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that we can copy and paste it. into
I got
Sketch.
it. I see what you're saying.
Instead of just
Okay.
being like.
Instead of,
document.
Tessa gets an email, then she's
Yeah.
gotta copy it into the
Yeah,
spreadsheet.
Right.
it
And
feels
then
like. should
Michelle
be
then
there.
has to copy it into Sketch.
Got it, got
So
it.
if they're all in one place.
Yeah, and does it need to be a certain format, Megan? Does it need to be
I'm sure
Word?
there are certain fields, like abstract, workshop name, instructor name.
Okay.
Yeah, then you wouldn't be missing any information either.
But then
Like
Tessa has
required
other things that
fields.
she, like, what day are you available?
Right, right.
What
Okay.
information, like, what technology do you need?
Yeah,
Those
so,
sort of things.
Mhm,
Be
okay.
covered in that as well.
yeah, instead of going back and forth
And
12
it's way
times.
easier to do that in survey 1, 2, 3 than in wild apricot.
Right, right, okay.
So current count for presentations, I think we're sitting okay, Scott, I think we probably, we're expecting a lot more, but we're at 23 right now.
That's nice.
And I've put,
Make it your own.
I've put in a couple emails out to a couple state agencies that we haven't heard from, one from FWC and one from DNRC. So hopefully I can get a response back and maybe even see them submit a presentation, so. So yeah, if you have any organizations that we would like to hear from, feel free to reach out to them, call them.
So Elena reached out to me about that document that she needed to have signed for, I can't remember what it was, making sure. that
China
we
not
were-
involved, making sure China wasn't involved.
Correct, yeah, so I signed that for her, and as we were chatting, she said that she had a presentation that she was gonna do. And I asked her if she knew any other people in the federal agencies that could potentially present, she said that she did.
Okay,
So she was gonna reach out to them, so hopefully we'll get more,
Perfect.
more participation from at the federal level.
Yeah.
Which would be really
That's great.
Yeah.
And she registered as a sponsor today.
Yeah, I saw that this morning, when I was putting together my update, which goes into my next thing, we have 8 exhibitors now, that number was at 7 yesterday. But yeah, just go through them, we have NV5 Geospatial, HDR, Ayers Associates again, Frontier Precision again, Civic Lens again, MSU again, USGS obviously is the new one, and then Bad Elf is a new one.
Nice.
I'm gonna read. Oh, no, Bad Elf was last year, yeah, so,
But they did it.
but we are missing several of them from last year. I'm gonna probably personally reach out to those that we have not heard commitments from. And Megan's actually been floating some emails that she's been communicating with a few other vendors that we talked to. Rock Technologies is one of them. So if we don't see them this year, I think hopefully they'll be on for 2026.
And maybe Snowflake.
Yep.
And I've reached out to Safe too.
Oh, and did you get a response?
Thank you, and we'll get back to you with reviewing, but they would like to.
Oh,
This
good,
did.
okay, well, they didn't say no, so
They did
that's
not
good.
say no.
I like that.
Still working.
It's a soft no.
Still working on.
To bounce you into it.
Still working on Esri. I emailed Michael this morning to ask for an update on both the learning lab, and a sponsorship, so it would be good to get, word on both of those. I'll let you all know if I hear from him, or not before meeting. Terracon, it's this company out of Billings. They're interested in sponsoring, but not an exhibit, so we're kind of just working with them. It's probably either gonna be the Monday night meetup, or a coffee break. So some sort of other sponsorship that we can kind of roll that money towards.
Cricket sponsoring, we just haven't paid yet. I got approval for a silver level this year.
Nice, well done.
Call for posters, we still need to work out the details, so I'm gonna get with Brian, so we can get that, information on our website. I'll send it to you, Megan, as soon as I hear from Brian. Michelle's we're kind of entering the period of, Michelle, I think it's the 23rd through the end of the month that her and her husband are kind of just gonna disconnect for a while in Europe, so it's understandable, so. Just keep that in the back of your mind that we won't be hearing from Michelle for a few more days. Student involvement, we have a meeting set up for the 5th for a few of us to discuss what we want to do. There's been this idea thrown around about a student breakfast. I think it's gonna need a sponsor for that event though, to make it work, because budgets, it's not gonna allow for that type of an event, so to be continued with that. I think our hopes is you know, private firm would kind of help, fund that. And then, so it's just kind of communicating with some of the prospects, I think one's in the room with Pickett, maybe we could potentially, leverage, her organization and fund a student breakfast, and I think that would be a great addition to our conference.
You could use some MSU sponsorship. I don't know if that's legal, but doesn't matter to me. It's kind of like, who is their name, Eileen from USGS? What's her name? I always get it wrong. Elaine. Elaine was saying like, I don't care how you use it, so if you want to use,
Yeah, we'll have to talk to, I think we'll have to talk to Michelle about that.
That would be perfect.
Because we could-
Oh, yeah.
Cause we could roll you down to a bronze and then use like the rest of that allocation between your bronze and silver as like other sponsor. So we could do
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then Janie's gonna send out the student scholarship stuff, but I think we have yet to really figure that out. With how much scholarship is scholarship funding is available in our budget. I think we kind of figured it out, but the wording is a little weird. And then registration is expected to open February 10th, so a couple weeks, 3 weeks away. So I think that pretty much covers it. You have a thing for Michelle later, right? Or you want me to just touch on what?
Touch on Michelle too.
Hey Jeff, I'm just wondering, are you planning, do you think you'll extend the corporate presentations a little bit?
No, we already extended it. If you're working with someone, I think it'd be fine. I mean, we're not technically meeting until February 4th to set the schedule. So I mean, I think it's fine if for solicited talks. I'll tell Michelle to essentially kind of just keep that link open. But you know, for solicited ones, probably just, you know, keep them in there.
You're not, I mean, Jackson, right? You guys just started last week,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna get no academic presentations.
I was thinking about that too. It is a hard time to release the call for presentations, like when everybody's like, see ya, Christmas break, and including, you know, me.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of coming up on two different fronts, because for one, we want to get the schedule out there, so we want to get it made early February, so it's ready before we open registration. You know, and two, with kind of everything shifted because of New Year's and all that, being in the middle of the week, it has shifted the academic calendar a little bit, I feel, and the what?
Later.
Yeah, so they're back,
Just starting, and so.
Yeah.
I think shifting it back a week would be fine. I wouldn't say extend it yet, like with the 24th.
It would be the first time we've
Because you
extended
only
it twice,
have-
but.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be-
I was like, have you
No,
done
I
that
would-
every year?
I would say, okay, I think, you know, because we're not actually meeting to set the schedule until the 4th, we could just extend it another week. I don't have a problem.
Yeah.
And we only have 25 right now. How many do we need?
We're gonna need probably 40 or so. So we're
So,
not gonna need as many as, because we're gonna go to just 3 concurrent sessions this year instead of 4. So we will need less of it. So I guess the idea is like, you know, we'll turn some away if we have to. But I don't even know if we'll even hit 40 at this point, so.
Yeah, I mean, what we talked about or what we heard from the survey last time is that there's an interest in more diverse and maybe substantial content.
Okay.
Right, so I do think we want, and like you say, if we want to talk with other state agencies, you know, like FWP and things of that nature, then, you know, they're gonna need to look at this.
Yeah.
and I think you could do like, if you wanted to have, like you guys did last time with like the student like session, like you could build in, like, just put in a placeholder, this will be a student session, and then find the students
Yeah.
later. Or hope, like reach out to them after the deadline and get presentations from the
Well,
students.
and there's gonna be, I think, 2, right? 2 students who got the scholarship and will present.
Okay.
And I don't think that they know to register by next week.
Well, yeah, and
Or by Friday, yeah. It's
Yeah.
actually-
knowing that they were gonna come,
We need to.
we
just
could like
make
at least
space
put in a
for it.
placeholder for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
They
yeah,
wouldn't necessarily have to have their abstract in by the 24th,
Right.
Okay,
but
yeah, I'll make note of that, to reserve 2 spots for them.
But I'm guessing there'd be a half hour, not an hour
Yep.
presentation.
Yeah, I don't think you can get a
Yeah.
hour long presentation.
So Megan, I'll get with you before Friday. I think we probably should just plan on extending it. But
Yeah, that's fine.
And I can just, and I
Be
can,
great.
and I can certainly just take one of Michelle's old emails and just change it. And then change obviously and Alicia can send her stuff out on social media.
So when is Michelle out?
She's out till the end of
The
the
rest
month.
of the month.
Basically the end of the month. Yeah, I think today's the last day. Yeah, we're right there, yeah.
That's not bad.
So, just to touch on
That
what.
would be Michelle.
One other comment really fast.
Go for
KR sent, an email to.
Oh, I
some
saw
of his
that, yeah.
Contacts as well,
Yeah,
too, so,
Blackfeet, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I got an email from Aaron Vaughn, he had a question, so he wants to submit a presentation with somebody.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but he was wondering if that second person can attend for the talk and not pick up for the conference.
Yeah, that's fine.
Can they mingle in the afternoon of the talk?
Absolutely not.
We do not want to see them after that.
No,
In the door.
And they better not eat a scone.
no, it's not, just agree to it. I think I know, he talked to me about it last week, I know what
Okay,
you're talking about, yeah.
okay.
Cause he's doing some contract work for, the Rocky Boy tribes, so
Okay.
yeah, it's absolutely fine.
Goes up Bob.
Huh?
No,
That's Aaron.
no, the guy that he's presenting.
That I don't know. That I don't know. Okay, so just touch on, Michelle's, so as we talked about in the budget, membership renewal notices, with membership, coming up March, those renewal notices are scheduled to go out at the beginning of February, to those that still have to pay, or renew their membership for the following year. Michelle's gonna coordinate with, Gail to customize the message, the notice, in case you wanna add a little extra, kind of a president's touch to it. So she and Rebecca's the new admin help in her office. They're working on archiving the Epcot, contacts, cause I think we keep going over. So once complete, so yeah, so I guess an extent to that, I guess they're gonna just do a hard, or just an archive for a bunch of them that are having email delivery problems. And then I think she's gonna just send us a copy of those archived records, to either permanent delete or change the address if any of us know this person. Maybe they've changed jobs, so maybe they're in the system, so some of them will probably duplicate as well. She's also helping, Rebecca's also helping Michelle with cross-referencing those 3 contact lists, to see, those that may be missing on the Magip listserv. And so we can invite those that were missing from the membership list to that listserv. And then the whole meetup thing, I think we'll just end up, inviting those that were on the old meetup site to our listserv that aren't already part of it, and if they accept, then that's fine. So yeah, that's pretty much what Michelle's got going on.
Did we ever sit down anything for, Pro West
In terms of a workshop or a presenter
or sponsor?
I don't think so. Not formally, I don't think. Are you guys talking with Pro West for your parcel power?
We did. And I can certainly throw an email out to them and
Yeah.
say, hey, on
You working with
that
Lisa?
note, we're doing this.
Are you working with Lisa or are you working with? Not yet, so.
Yeah, Lisa, yes.
Lisa? Okay. Yeah, I mean, feel free to mention my
I'll send
name.
it.
Yeah, feel free to mention my name because they know me.
She knows, yeah, they mentioned you and a
Yeah.
couple other people that they, so.
Yeah, cause Butte Silverbow, they went with Pro West
Yeah.
for their conversion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think them or Sidwell or, you know, any of them that want to come. I don't think they've ever come this way, so,
I didn't know, I brought it up to Sidwell already.
yeah. Okay,
Did you use the vendor list, Jeff, when you sent out the call for sponsorship?
I'm assuming that Michelle did, yeah, Michelle did.
So then Jenny Miller would have been the email that was used for Pro West.
Jenny,
That's the marketing.
that might be her. Yeah, well, yeah, maybe. Well, anyway, I'll reach out to him.
Okay.
Just why not? You know? Can't hurt.
Yeah, well, actually, I don't know if she used the vendor list, she may have just sent it to.
I think she.
Yeah, I'd have to ask Michelle, she did mention at one point that she just sent them out to the last 2 years. Exhibit. Burmese, but yeah, I'll talk with her when she gets back. But yeah, we've spent a lot of time with that vendor list, it'd be nice.
I'm assuming
Get
she's.
some briefs
Yeah,
out.
so really February meeting, sure.
Yeah, yeah. So we did add a conference planning meeting, for I think, yeah, March 5th, so we'll have 2 in March. I suggested that to Michelle, just because there's gonna be a lot of things going on between. Basically, yeah, it's coming quick, yeah, this conference is coming quick, yeah. Thank God we're not having an end of March conference like that.
You're not kidding.
'Cause I think the last time it was in Helena, it was at the end of March. Yeah. But yeah, and I'll let Tessa talk about workshops with her update, this afternoon.
When does registration open again?
We're expecting, February 10th, so
Oh, okay.
3 weeks away.
That's doable.
And so we're hoping to have the schedule set, all the workshops set. So we can just go in there and register wherever they.
Alright. Any other updates on the conference? Any other updates
We're
on
also
conference
talking Canada,
planning?
they're all.
Well, not in person, yeah, virtually, yeah.
Oh, do you wanna talk about the extra day?
Well, that's something that should come up.
Yeah,
Yeah, so this year we're doing workshops on Friday as well, so we got 2 rooms. Sounds like Frank is gonna have one of them, with the parcel fabric stuff.
and that's gonna be a virtual,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
He's gonna teach the class virtually, so I won't have, oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I expect some of them, especially if it's the Department of Revenue folks, I expect some of them to go home, so they'll probably remote in, so we'll give that option, but. Yeah, I think those that are in Helena, it'd be nice for us to, you know, throw a second one on there that would draw some state agencies. Or
We've got some.
folks that wanna stay, so I think we're kind of trying it this year, just because most of our attendees are gonna be in Helena. So it'd be, I mean, it'd be no sweat for someone to just run up to the hotel, do an all-day workshop and get benefit from it. But I guess remains to be seen if others will actually stick around another day, you know. And we're not really promoting it, I don't think, to the fullest,
yet.
so if we were
Not
to,
yet.
if we were to do this, for Whitefish, I think from the get-go, we need to just
Feel like
hammer
they've been-
home, workshops on Friday, plan on staying through Friday, so.
And I do have a question, and I know we don't know the answer yet, but I'm gonna just throw it out there. If we have the learning lab, maybe it could be extended to Friday so that people, if they
Yeah.
wanna have like hands-on in a room.
we'd
I don't
have-
know.
We'd
I-
probably
I
have to
don't
get
know.
a third.
A third room.
We'd probably
Okay,
have-
well, let's just kind of chat about it.
Yeah.
We don't even know about the learning lab yet.
We
Yeah.
can definitely fill up the
Those
second
two
room.
Yeah, I don't,
Okay,
yeah, I don't think it'd be an issue to add another room, particularly if we're expecting at least the Helena folks to, you know, somewhat be available, so.
And the plan is after, this meeting ends, that we can do a walkabout
Yeah.
in the hotel to look at the room, so if you wanna
I
stay.
forgot we were here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were in
We're gonna give you a walkabout.
Teleported to Bozeman.
I was actually thinking about that strategic planning event, like, it would be so cool if we could get closer to Whitefish, but that's a long trek
Yeah.
for everybody. I know, but it'd be so nice to be able to like
be in the space and see what that space is gonna look
We
like?
could have, I mean, we've done this in the past, we could have, one of our board meetings up there, like say like the June or the, or we can create
June.
another in-person one in October.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah,
We've done,
October.
we've done that before.
Okay.
I think we met for, we made it optional, but we met in Billings the
Yeah,
year before their conference.
right, yeah.
And so we made it
Yeah.
optional, I think only half the board was there just
Right.
because of the distance, I mean, especially like Missoula all the way across the state.
Yeah, sure.
We could try to do a strategic planning meeting there.
That's what I was thinking, something close to there.
I'm
We'll
gonna stay
go
at
for a
Anita's
decent
house,
meeting.
Yeah, you-
playing her couch.
Yeah, Whitefish is a gorgeous area, it'd be great for a retreat, probably just pricey though, it's the only thing. Would be-
Anybody have friends up there? that are Really, really
What's the difference?
cabin?
I mean, my parents are.
What's the difference?
Do they mind a couple extra?
Yeah, can we come?
Just hang out in the basement, just have the whole basement board members.
So my mom and dad are those people who, when you're teleworking, they like peek around.
Hey, we might get some homemade cookies out, we might get some homemade cookies.
Yeah, there you go.
Can't wait to meet your parents.
So there, I guess for workshops, if we wanna kind of see what state folk might want, I mean, pandas, I think you'll get a lot of people from the state wanting to do that, but Kara offered to do an arcade one, David had.
On Friday?
On Friday.
Yes, I think Experience Builder would be
Yeah.
very popular.
Yes.
And even
Arcade
doing
would be a
experience
very-
of it twice, maybe the intro one on, yeah,
Those are both willing to stay.
yeah,
Eric's gonna peace out, but Kara's like, I'll stick around.
nice.
So,
Oh, yeah, so the
Um,
rooms are full.
so if
Let's
we need
get
it,
another
and then David Howe's also offered to do like a JavaScript one that day,
Mhm.
if we wanna do that.
Ooh, that would.
But yeah, those, we
Awesome.
have people if you.
If we were gonna get an extra room though, it's gonna cost money.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
the learning lab.
exactly.
We haven't registered people for that,
Yeah,
so.
let's not.
Yeah,
And I'm
but
already,
Stop planning that yet.
it's already in the budget now for the 2 rooms.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
alright,
already there.
so,
yeah,
don't
okay,
fret, we'll have
Yeah,
people, but
we'll talk to.
I
them.
mean, in my mind, I would prioritize, you know, if we wanted to get a third room, prioritize having a workshop in there, cause you can recruit most, I mean,
Yeah,
all that costs essentially with registration.
the other thing too is like, it might not be ideal, but since Frank is doing it virtual anyway, he's not coming up here in person. Just to be like, you wanna do this, do it from home or do it from your office.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's an option.
I don't know how many people were actually in the room last time.
I
He
think
did.
there was only like 2 or 3.
No, was it?
There was like, everybody.
Cause it was,
virtual.
cause for one, it was Monday, and the Department of Urban folks weren't coming up until Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, I know my coworker did it from.
And then maybe we could just be like, since it's in Helena, we'll rent out the NRC conference room.
Well, that would be free.
He's like, well, that's a great idea. You can handle that.
Hey, that actually is not a bad idea.
The TNRC.
We could put the ones that wanna stay, here in Helena, and don't wanna do it from home. We
In
could
one of
just
your
put- We could
guys's-
just put them in the DRC building.
Just saying.
Hey, well, we'll get to that.
Do you wanna see if it's available all day, that Friday, the 18th? Yeah, okay,
Cool. And then we could do, you know, whatever.
that frees that,
Yeah,
that frees that one
I
up.
do need to talk to you about. We can do it off, well, yeah, we can do it later,
no,
after here, or at lunch.
You
I
can do
mean-
your- you can do your
Okay.
later, so.
yeah,
Okay, so we are just looking at the at the schedule, it's 11:55. They're supposed to be bringing lunch at
Oh.
noon, so if you want, we can just break right now.
Yeah, just grab some.
Do we wanna turn on the recording?
Yeah.
And come back at 12:30, and then you're.
Let's see.
Mike's are.
okay. I just got signed out, so maybe, do you wanna just open that?
I'm gonna close this door since you're vacuuming.
You want me to share that spreadsheet?
Please. Okay, workshops. A lot of confirmed people. Could go to rooms on the second thing. We need to make sure that. See if we could use one of their like ballrooms or like a different room, because we got so many people that are taking up the entire space for like the full days. Which is fine. NASA, I think we'll get a lot of people for that one, to be honest. So if we wanted to, we could.
So when,
Same reaction.
Keep it lively.
Well, we still have one more room for someone on Friday, right?
Yeah, and David House could do that. He said, he's thinking, I'll talk to him a little bit more.
Would he take a third workshop then, or would he
Yeah.
move one of his on Tuesday?
I think it would work either way, but he said he might be able to do that. I guess for those Friday workshops, I think having something that like state people might be more interested in, or people that are like sticking around.
Yeah.
Would probably be ideal, so. I don't know. I wasn't thinking about doing like Bob or like the intro to RTS or NG 911. Some people just can't do that Friday, which is fine, but there's a lot of people. No, I think maybe Jackson was
Is that,
possibly gonna do
is
that.
that
on
NASA
Friday.
one 2 day, or is he repeating that?
That's the thing, he could repeat it. I'm gonna see if he wants to do two separate ones. He might do this, just repeat. Which works for me.
Cause didn't he say, I thought he said he had on 1 day, right? A 1 day workshop and that too?
He had two options, and of course,
You can lock us in, Tessa.
Yeah, not.
You can lock me in.
dropping it.
Okay.
I'll either do it or I'll make our staff do it. One of
okay,
us from the
I would,
work study. will do it.
okay.
lock him in.
I gotta commit now or I'll.
Yeah, setting up the schedule, I don't think that should be something that, I mean, we can decide on what classes are teaching, I think, but for setting it up and everything, I think it's more of an opportunity meeting.
Yeah, that's fair.
Thing.
So I guess in that case, we have a lot of stuff. We're gonna do intro to ArcGIS Pro, ArcGIS Online, Survey 1, 2, 3. Kara's gonna do Experience Builder. Kara she said she had to redo the entire first thing because of all of the changes that have happened.
It's needed.
Yeah.
The grid layout's awesome.
So she's gonna do the intro and intermediate. David's gonna do something, probably Python again, and then.
Can you post the other sheet? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then he did mention possibly doing like a JavaScript one if anybody's interested in that, but. Yeah, we got drone 107. You're doing drone open data source.
Yep.
Frontier wants to do some stuff. There's all sorts of stuff going on.
Yeah. Ooh, I want that mobile mapping oriented imagery one.
Sweet. Well,
Sign me up.
the only thing is, we only have 5 rooms, and David, Kara, and between Eric and Bob, like those are basically full. So I don't know if Michelle has a contact or if I can just go to the front desk and be like, hey, can we also use your other spaces?
Let's wait for Michelle, because Michelle negotiates that.
Well, we also have to think about too, is we want 6 options. It is,
Yeah, are we to the point where we need to start saying no?
yeah, I think, saying no at this point, I think is to our benefit, because otherwise it's gonna take away from other workshops, and obviously, someone can only, especially with all these doubles,
Like full.
someone signing up for a full day, they obviously can't. It takes them away from all these other workshops that they can't do, so.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I would lean towards not repeating workshops if we're low on room space.
Okay, I guess maybe we could talk about that during our conference.
Well, for
Whenever-
sure, absolutely.
When is that? When's our next one? Is it
I
soon?
think the 19th is the next conference meeting.
Okay,
We're
well,
gonna have to talk to it before then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're gonna talk.
Yeah,
Especially,
Probably
yeah.
the 3rd. I would think the third would probably have to
2
talk about.
weeks, whenever Michelle's
Yeah.
back, have just a workshop planning meeting.
Yeah.
So February 19th is the next, conference planning meeting, other than the February 4th meeting?
The fourth
Yeah,
and the third.
I think Tess and I are probably gonna have to just have a small powwow, this might even need to get figured out before February.
Yeah, could you do that before our meeting?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
that'd be good.
But like some of these, you don't. They're not. I feel like a lot of them are well attended, like the intro stuff, especially if you're coming new into our community.
Yeah.
Moving over from art math, but like,
Do you have access to what we did last year
It'll be a good
It did.
variety
to
of.
see how many were in that class last
Yeah,
year? That might help.
somewhere, I did.
And I can.
You don't have to find it now, but.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but, I know when we did the intro to pro a couple of years ago, there was a ton of people that did it, and we haven't had one of those for a while, yeah, we can talk about it more later on, but, yeah, we definitely have people, and we're doing Friday, hopefully somebody around here in the state agencies has a conference room for the panda stuff. Question mark?
Could see if it's available for Monday and Tuesday too,
Yeah,
but also limiting your workshop options, like you don't want just 2 people to show up or
Yeah.
like register for
yeah,
workshops.
exactly. I think, how many did we have in Bozeman? There was like 8 rooms, wasn't there?
No, there was only 4.
Really?
I think this is the most we've had.
How many rooms do we have here?
5.
Five?
Yeah, this is the most we've had. We
Not
won't,
including the ball.
yeah,
Okay.
cause we won't have this many in Whitefish. I mean, I think we'll be able to have 4 at a time, but we'll be using the ballroom.
And we only have 5 rooms, and if one is the learning lab, we really only have 4.
Yeah, that's the other thing, like, and like there are, like,
Well, could the learning lab be moved to like
I thought the one was
Wednesday?
Friday.
through Friday?
Yeah.
I don't know what.
I would,
as for
I
you.
know there's more, I'd have to see what's in our contract,
Okay,
Cause it's possible that we have a 6th room in our contract that we can just stick to learning, cause I would almost kind of exclude that from, you'd be offering 5 plus the learning that you would really be offering. And,
like you wouldn't sign up for the learning lab.
yeah, exactly, it's kind of just like auxiliary kind of thing.
Yeah, I would do that during sessions, I think, instead
the
of,
learning lab?
yeah.
Yeah, that's
instead
what
of
I'm
full
thinking,
blown.
yeah.
Does it cost money to rent, or to use the space at the Capitol? Cause I know
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
we went there for the Natural Heritage Program, presentations, and that was kind of cool.
I don't think it does, but they're still in session. so
Oh,
it's
right.
being done to- Yes.
Yeah.
And there's no parking.
Yeah. True.
But yes, it's free to rent those.
So yeah, trying to get these out, finalized before,
Are you starting to get some of the information from them?
yeah.
Do you wanna go ahead and send that to Megan, and we'll start getting that page populated?
Sure, I can do that. There might be, there's a couple of them in that folder already too,
Well,
so.
once you set up your survey 1, 2, 3, you can fill it out too and pretend you're them.
There you go.
Man.
There you go.
Cool. I'm Bob today.
Use your magic fingers.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, anyway, there's tons of stuff. We also need to figure out, so Candace is gonna be virtual Friday, so those, he just threw out a couple of things, so if any of those look particularly,
But that's not his only one.
Yeah.
On Friday, right? I mean.
he has 2 on.
Yeah, he's doing
Yeah.
a
He's
back
doing
to back.
2 on Friday.
He's
Yeah.
doing a back to back, yeah, half day, half day.
Okay.
So,
So is Friday a full day then?
Yeah.
All the way to 4?
yeah,
No. Okay.
You don't have to stay, Mike.
I know. I was just thinking Friday was just gonna be till like noon. I didn't realize.
No, we have
were gonna
2
push
rooms.
it all the way to.
Yeah, we have 2 rooms all day, so.
Alright, okay.
Has this ever been done before, or has it just been a while?
No.
Oh, it's just never been done.
Okay, I think it's a good time to test it.
Especially with
Because-
IT and Helena.
Right.
When we're talking, our audience here is, I mean, I think it's a small set of people that are gonna stay. Being remain to be seen for that, but it's most of the locals that we're thinking of here. So popping over for an all-day workshop, it's not gonna be a big deal for
Are there
most
maybe,
state agencies.
sorry,
Do we have any sessions on that
No.
day? Just
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
technical?
we're just testing this, because I've seen it a couple times, particularly in Idaho, where they'll bookend their,
Mhm. Yep,
their workshops.
yeah, I
So,
think that's a great idea.
Well, I don't have internet connection for some reason, but
Oh,
anyway.
dang.
Yeah, tons, we're fine on workshops, but the idea is to, before registration opens, get like at least the basics so that people can sign up for them.
Yep.
Do you have the pricing on this yet?
There's the couple ones like David Howe's and, Eric and Kara have their,
Standard pricing.
yes, and then, yeah, I think it's the same deal, like, I can double check,
I think it was like 360 for
Yeah.
a full day or something.
yeah. So, I'll double check.
And I think it was 240 for a half a day, but most of it's a full day, so.
Yeah, yeah. The intro to RTS Pro is normally a day and a half, but he said he can condense it down to one day, so. There's them.
The reason why you don't have internet is because it's not connected to you, it's Jeff's got the.
Oh, I know, but I.
No, she's got no
have it,
Oh.
but, yeah. I was trying to-
See when I'm in the conference room, I'm like pushing the button to one remote and it's actually on the computer, vice versa. I'm like, why is it working? Hitting the mouse, but it's not working.
Let's work on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So-
great job. Better to have too many than.
That-
not.
I know.
That's a good problem. to
And
have.
I just get to be the jerk that's like, I know I asked you if you wanted to do one, but.
That's why you're supposed to check first to do that.
Oh, yeah.
First come, first serve.
Fair enough. But anyway, and like the NASA one, they could just do one day too. Like if we don't need to repeat them. then
Yeah,
that's
I think-
fine.
That might be a good idea.
Yeah, I think that's an
Yeah.
excellent idea.
So they're gonna do a workshop and then are they doing a session?
Probably, I think so.
That's cool.
And
Yeah.
then,
Yeah, maybe ask him if he wants to submit for a session.
That's what I.
yeah, I
think would
sent
be
him all
good,
the
yeah.
information.
Okay.
I was like,
Okay.
the sessions are, you know, the deadline is here, but it's kind of some deadline.
February 4th, man.
Um,
What is their session, what is their workshop gonna be about? That's not on there.
I would love to check,
Is
but
it the Bad Elf tab?
no, it's back in that home folder.
Oh, that's okay.
It's like climate, oh wait. Do I have it?
Oh, cool.
Climate and Python, so there might be some overlap with what David House is doing, but,
Huh.
yeah. Anyway, we'll hammer out those details within, like, I have a couple of weeks to.
As long as there's rockets going up in the air.
You're on board.
Where are the
Outside-
rocks? I want them to
Outside
be there.
workshop.
That's right.
So yeah, they're coming along. I really
Right.
wish I could open that, sorry, everybody, but, yeah, we'll talk, maybe if we could, at our next planning meeting, like,
I think, I like you said.
I'll schedule something for you like the next week.
but definitely, like,
Definitely.
yeah, oh, yeah. But definitely set some time to be like, make decisions so that people can get it
Yeah.
together, so.
Yeah, we'll get some on the calendar for next week.
Okay.
Done.
I'm thinking about the parcel fabric workshop.
Mm-hmm.
Would there be an opportunity for people to attend that remotely?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which
That
is,
that is virtual.
it is, it
Yeah,
is totally.
especially if we have a Friday, I see a lot of them going home and then signing in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, especially like his coworker.
yeah, my coworker will be doing that.
Yeah.
She'll be staying in buildings and she'll log in, and that's what she did last year, we did that last year too.
Yeah, there was like 3 of them in the room and there was probably like 10 or 12 of us.
There was a
online.
lot
Yeah,
of
there
people
was
that
like-
signed up for
yeah.
that one.
Like I have staff in Salt Lake City that are, we need to get up to speed on that.
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be
absolutely.
great.
Yeah, they just have to pay the fee to.
When do they wanna do
They don't even
it?
have time for the conference if they want to, so.
Morning or afternoon?
Yeah, okay.
But see, like morning or afternoon,
Is that-
like
is
there's
that
two options.
Just out of curiosity, is that an option for more than just that one?
What do you mean?
Well, it's Panda, he's staying in Florida. And he's the one doing the classes, and he's doing more than just the parcel fabric, he's doing an intro to parcel fabric, and then he's got several ideas of a couple other
Yeah.
sessions.
Yeah.
So the second session, we haven't decided on which one we wanted to teach.
Yeah.
Something unique.
So parcel fabric,
No, I'm just
attribute
wondering.
rules.
But that's the only workshop
That's the only ones that are gonna be virtual, so.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't gone down that whole rabbit hole providing a hybrid
Right.
component, cause it's expensive, you know,
Yeah. KR had also mentioned wanting to have some of the people that he coordinates with work on, do the book for the fabric.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So maybe
So-
we could just do like intro and then, if he's got like an intermediate or,
Let's reach out to KR.
yeah.
So,
So,
But I'm
yeah,
pretty
definitely
sure
not close to
that was
Friday.
part of
Yeah.
our conversation this year.
cool. No, I think having that on Friday is gonna be,
That was an excellent suggestion.
and he's like, that works out good. That's when I usually do. it
Yeah, cause he
anyway."
had a couple of conflicts of both Monday and Tuesday where he wasn't gonna be able to do like back-to-back workshops, cause he had some client appointments already confirmed, but.
Cool.
All right, are you good?
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Tessa. Member development, Helen?
I don't have a ton of updates for you. I am slightly behind on finalizing that kind of draft revision of the social media policy, so I will continue to work on that and send that out to the group. I got waylaid on something totally different, so not a whole huge amount of updates. The member development survey has been out for a while and we haven't had tons of responses. I haven't looked in a week or two or maybe more, but there wasn't a huge amount of response and I plan to just change the title from 2024 to like 2024/25 since it kind of should go, I would feel like, in line with our sort of operating year of our cycle of, elections and whatnot, so.
Are you planning on keeping that open through the conference?
Yep, I'll keep it open till right
Yeah.
before the conference.
Cause I do like a QR code, like right at the registration desk.
Yeah,
And point everyone to it.
yeah, we could leave it up
Feedback,
there
use your
at the
feedback.
conference. I love that idea. And I'll probably email Michelle and ask her to like send out another link to the Wild Apricot list of actual active members to get some additional feedback on how we're doing.
Can I ask a question about that? So last year, we really wanted to spend more time going over the results. So May's meeting feels too soon. Can we go over the results in June at the in-person meeting? Although that's Jackson. Are you on board with that? Like
Yeah.
going over the survey in June? Okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I would like to, like we did last year, share with the members the results of that survey and some of the things that matter to our membership. I thought that was a really nice thing
Yeah.
to share. So I'm not sure, we'll figure out when in the
Yeah.
schedule that happens, but just like the overview of the word clouds and some graphs, charts and like, hey, here's what we're hearing.
Maybe the word cloud should be.
Along the lines of that, right? So last year, we did spend some time going over that survey at the end of the meeting there.
Yeah.
And the whole point there is that you gave us some input and we reacted to it, right?
Yeah.
So I think this year we're doing more of the tribal stuff. So maybe that's something we could highlight.
Yeah.
Our partnerships too, that was a huge. thing.
Partnerships, tribal,
Yeah, partnerships, yeah, so we could say, we heard you and we did these things in response.
yeah.
I wonder if we could print some of those what did you call it?
Word clouds, I'm
Yeah,
sure we
word
could.
clouds and then we.
Hey,
could put
here's
them
what
around.
people cared
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
from the previous survey
Yeah.
and here's what we did. And then here's what we're looking at for this year's feedback. That would be great.
Yeah. Cool.
So anyways, that's all that I had to share with you all on member development updates.
Would you send me an email about the social
Survey?
media
Oh, this-
policy?
yeah.
Cause I still owe you, skinny.
My plan
Come
was,
on, I have
my
like
plan was to put your 3 pages in ChatGPT
It
until
was
it.
only 3 paragraphs.
I know, I'm just giving you a hard
kidding.
time. No,
It
yes,
all felt important.
I'll send you an email, yeah.
That'd be great, thank you. Cause I've had it on my calendar 3 times and it just keeps getting like moved and eventually it just fell off. Anybody else need to be part of that email? Hillary, are you part of that?
I think I did.
Are you done?
comments.
Yeah,
Okay, all right. It's just me.
I think so.
All right, thank you. Anything else, Helen?
No, that's it.
Any other questions about member development?
No, I haven't gotten back, I haven't got anything back from Marlo's yet, after sending that letter out.
Okay. Well, I think Jeremy's gonna be there, who's a coworker of mine, he lives in Helena here actually, and then, another coworker from our affiliated organization, ESP, Curtis Claybaugh's gonna present there as well, so.
I'll follow up.
Couple picket representatives over there.
Yeah, I'll follow up with them, and see what they want.
Yeah, we're doing a 4-hour workshop with Marls.
Oh, awesome.
So you'll be at Marl's this year?
Nice.
Will you be at Marl's this year?
Well, it's in Billings,
Oh.
but so.
Yeah, I'll probably primarily be at the, mostly at the state booth, but I'll pop over. But
Okay,
be nice if another board member could join me, like,
okay.
if possible. Have, they,
I wasn't,
did we get a booth yet at Marls, like?
no, I sent a letter to them and told them, hey, what's up with Marls, you know, what's going on? You know, are we getting a booth, how, or, you know, I sent the letter saying that we have other options now, maybe, you know, can we just coordinate our, you know, membership costs with each other,
Yeah,
kind of thing, instead of doing a booth. I haven't heard anything
yeah.
back, so I'll follow up with them next week. But, yeah, since we're on that subject, I was not planning on being on the booth 24/7 like I usually am. I mean, since it's in Billings, I'll be there, I'll stay there for a little while, you know, and I'll be running back and forth from my job to the booth and everything, but, you know, if we're still having a booth.
If you have a booth, I'll volunteer my colleague Jeremy to help man the booth for you.
Probably, I think Jeremy was at our meetup.
He was at the meetup, yeah.
I was gonna bring over what I had.
Oh, perfect.
Michelle brought me, she sent me over some new stuff, that she leftovers from last year's conference. So
Awesome.
some notebooks, but mostly koozies, which the surveyors will eat up, so.
Okay, and then we'll talk about that at the next conference planning committee meeting.
Yeah, I think I think we'll, start ordering swag for conference. Yeah, we gotta get that order in before.
But as their swag, Jeff constitutes everything. He has it all now.
Yep, okay, that's good to know. All right, scholarships and grants.
Yeah, the announcements are out there. I shared them with some, contacts initially, at U of M, Jackson. Did you get,
Yeah, I shared them with my students, yeah.
can you think of other outlets at MSU that we could?
Yeah, what I haven't done is shared them, I don't know did you share them with anyone else at MSU? I didn't see anyone else on that contact list.
No,
Okay.
I'm kind of relying
Okay,
on
yeah.
you to be the MSU. contact.
I have not done this yet, but I will pass them on to the other GIS instructors and kind of just geospatial folks for sure.
Definitely.
Polar
But, you know,
Yeah,
Blast it.
what I'm trying to do, also, like at U of M is go to some other schools. You know, you've got engineering over there.
yeah,
There might be some geospatially oriented engineering students.
yeah,
Just maybe kind of cast the net. a
Yeah.
little there.
yep, happy to.
Like we have the business school, and that's kind of.
Yeah,
interesting
yeah.
too.
Yeah, we have like a list there, the geospatial core facility does, so I can send it to that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the wider we can cast it, the
Yeah.
better. Another way to get the stuff advertised is we have, we're kind of been maintaining a distribution list. I sent out a message. This review, we had new contacts, the guy at Billings.
Yeah, did you put him in there? But he was in there. I was gonna look at it. Yeah.
Ready.
That's what
So that's good. He'll get it for sure.
Yep.
And Hillary did me a huge solid and she, told me that some of them were out of date and updated some. I'm kind of impressed at how you had those contacts.
I reached out wide and far for GIS day. I was doing a lot of calls.
That's
Nice.
huge.
From the airport, I mean, you were gone that day.
Like prior to the meeting,
Oh.
like in October.
From the airport.
Yeah, that's huge. So, I will send, another notice out through that distribution list here pretty soon. And, Tessa, I think you were gonna put me in touch with some education grant folks.
Yeah, did anything
I
come out of
never
that?
did hear, so.
Courtney and then Sean,
Yeah,
nothing?
no.
Okay.
But if you talk to them, let them know, still, they're still open.
And I have not updated the website yet, and I don't know what the deadline is.
It's like March 15th or
Okay.
something, or March 25th.
I can't remember if that was an email.
Yep.
And
So,
we haven't sent one out to the Magip list yet,
great, let's
so I'll do that.
do that shortly. There's PDFs in the.
And then, you know,
Yeah, March 21st.
21st. Okay. Yeah, so I think we're good. One of the things we talked about, as a thing, you know, like we say, the money that we're offering isn't a ton, but it's more the recognition and the fact that you're getting some kind of a professional upgrade. So we thought maybe we could, maybe a plaque, or maybe just even a certificate of some sort. We think that's fine. I'd say that's about it.
Did Jenny get a hold of you about sending everybody that's on her, I think it's the list that you have, sending it out and seeing who bounces back to clean up that list? Did you see that?
I do know.
Oh, sorry, so I talked to Jenny and we were talking about cleaning up this list.
Yeah,
And she said that every year, and this goes back to the conversation about students, but she said basically she sends the list out. And then if she gets bounce backs, then she can start to clean that list up if you want her to.
well, I'd say
is that the same list?
Hillary.
Is it the
just-
same list?
Yeah, well,
Okay,
I don't know. I
Okay.
don't know exactly.
I think there might be multiple.
Yeah.
I think it's
Well,
the same,
I
I
think
think
it's
it was
the
on the
same.
email chain that she responded
Okay,
to.
perfect, okay.
Yeah.
yeah, so that's kind of what I did. We had a list that got started a while ago,
Mhm.
before we were, before we had our annual conference, and we were still doing it with Idaho.
Mhm.
And so there are some Idaho institutions on there, so I think it's time to say goodbye to them.
Mhm.
And I made a Montana focused list
Oh, nice,
currently,
okay.
and that's what Hillary helped, update.
Mhm.
And so I think that list should be pretty good.
Nice.
When I send it out, I'll see
Okay.
who bounces,
Mhm.
and maybe that's Jenny can focus on that one too, which I think is another thing. If I'm sending something out, I can also talk about the other opportunities
Oh, yeah.
for students, right?
Yeah, would you coordinate with Jenny on that so that she knows what you're doing? That way you guys
Yeah.
aren't doing double duty. Or we could do double duty. I mean, like, I think it's okay to hear from multiple
Sure,
people, but
it is, but
but-
since I'm reaching out,
yeah.
I might
I
as well
think-
say, these are the other things that are available.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree with that.
What's the mechanism by which the K through 12 education, I guess, grants go out, since that's not for students, it's
The
for-
same way.
The same way,
Yeah.
okay. Maybe I was like, oh, I just was looking at, you know, this, and so people get nominated for that one by somebody, or do you submit yourself for an education?
Yeah, you submit an application, you
Okay,
know, to get the award.
okay. All right, cool.
It's a weird one.
Yeah, it's not one that I like know that much about, but.
He's right at that. There you
So-
go.
The
bench shall,
Shellhammer, he was an educator,
uh-huh,
and, you know, he put this forward. It's hard, and things in education have changed, you know,
Uh-huh.
become a lot more constrained in what teachers can do.
Uh-huh.
Yes, right, there's like,
I know, I'm like, oh wait, my brother's a teacher in Helena here.
Yeah.
Teaches in science or
Yeah.
science.
so that's the
Oh.
thing that we found is that like straight up teachers, they're finding it harder to, you know, and they're like, oh, big deal, you know, like that, this grant isn't really helping me that much.
So,
Right, so, pardon me. So, what we're finding is after school programs and things like that, they can run through a school.
uh-huh, that
Can work.
supports that, okay,
Or, you know, it could be a student, like a graduate student or something like that, who wants to work with a teacher or a school,
uh-huh, oh, that's cool.
right?
One of the things that Aaron Fashaway pointed out at the NGF meeting was, that on our,
experience builder for GIS Day, that there's a disclaimer for kids like 13 and older, and she's like, so how many kids did we have? And Jeff Sprock did an amazing job of pulling kids in because he had his own kids that he brought to GIS Day. And I thought that next year, when we're preparing for GIS Day, which is slightly separate from grants, but kind of along the same conversation, are those conversations that we could be having with middle school and high school. And at my quilt retreat, as a matter of fact, they were all ex-teachers. They were all retired teachers, and actually Jenny's daughter Wendy gave me the name of like the state contract that maybe we could start reaching out to them so that we could, you know, start coordinating with that, and that would maybe get us some additional contacts with regard to the scholarships and grants.
You know, I think the grant, the education grant, I think that's something that we can be pretty creative with,
Mhm.
right? And what I have found over the years, that's what it takes. It takes somebody on the inside to have an idea or a connection. Say, hey, your brother would be perfect for this.
I know, that's, like, he does all kinds of after-school programs.
Right.
You know, or even with some of the tribal colleges or something of that nature, even if we could, if there's an interested member, Magip member who wants to work with the school to get an AGOL thing going for them, or something of that nature. You know, we could be creative. There's nothing written in stone about that particular grant. The world is changing and we could change how we administer it.
So,
Like summer camps too, like all of the kids that, well, I should say, all of our coworkers that have kids, they're in like 2-week long camps all summer. And maybe reaching out to the folks that put those camps on.
You know,
That's a great idea.
we used to have this, this chest, this magical chest, you know, that had GPS units and things like that, compasses.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And so teachers could borrow this chest and use it to do something. Well, what do we put in the chest today,
Right.
right? So we can, like I say, I think have a cool opportunity to grow this part.
Awesome, thank
so
you.
Can we reach out to like 4-H, or does it have to be in the school? Cause I don't know, like I tried to look up the rules on scholarships and it says like K-12 curriculum. But I don't, you know, 4-H would be a good option.
Well, if they're using GIS,
Well, 2 years ago, I reached out and we actually had one, or not 4-H, Boy Scouts actually. We actually had one Boy Scout come to GIS Day, because he had an interest in engineering or something
Oh,
one day.
Awesome.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I just don't know if we, like, how we're regulating that grant specifically.
Yeah,
That's a great question.
that might be a little stretch,
Mhm.
right? I mean, unless there's kids in an after school thing in 4-H, I don't know. Yeah, hey, but one thing to think about, and I should reach back to this, remember the student, the teacher we had from Belgrade? She did the weeds mapping
Yeah.
thing? That was just last year, that was in the last cycle.
That was so cool.
So, we should get in touch and see if she'd be interested in doing that again. Right, so that might be one right there.
The retired teacher that was putting together our quilt retreat actually was in Helena. She left the retreat to come to Helena to do 4-H.
Well, and I
Yeah,
could
so.
see that being like a
Yeah.
student, like a 4-H project where you put together a lesson plan or
Yeah.
do like a weed.
I think it would be interesting, right?
I've seen like Girl Scouts dashboards where they track like cookie sales and like the calendars in there. It's really cool. And like, I mean, in Helena, we have the Boy Scouts picking up trees all the time, so like they could
Yeah.
totally apply GIS.
Yeah.
It'd be cool. I
That's-
just don't know where our rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they still do that? Do Girl Scouts still sell cookies?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like they go door to door? and do
No,
stuff?
they set up tables usually.
yeah.
Girl
I said a Costco or something.
Organization without Girl Scout cookies, right?
Well, that would be a cool mapping, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, where you
How many
get the,
cookies do they eat in Bozeman?
yeah,
A
what-
lot.
What neighborhoods?
Well,
My
it's so
house
cool because the
would be
dashboard
right.
showed like
My
which
house
tables
would
were
skew that
profitable.
That's
They're
cool.
like, I know.
That's really cool.
I'm gonna bring everything back for just a minute. I actually do have one more question. About, so you mentioned something about endowments.
Yeah, I would love to see that happen over time.
Could you put together something and maybe share it via the Magip board email?
Sure.
Maybe with some information
I'll
about it,
do
so
a
we can
little-
just start
yeah.
looking at it and understanding what that means in the budget and.
Yeah, cause I'd love to
Yeah.
talk about what can we do
Yeah.
with our budget.
Let me throw something out at you. So, a dear friend of mine, Hans Zuring, he died in December. So he was, you know, one of the original GIS professors here in Montana, helped get a lot of stuff started. When he retired, he set up an endowment at the University of Montana to support a GIS scholarship. So he took $25,000 of his own money, donated it to the university, and that supports an annual scholarship of like $1,500 or something. Right? It's perpetual. So I would like, that would be cool if we could establish something like that. And now that I was at his funeral and, you know, we were talking about a lot of things, and I don't know, I really feel like that's something I'd like to get going. We could do that, you know, as an exercise, sort of, right?
Yeah.
I could contribute a couple $100. You could. We all could. The membership could, right? Maybe a one-time deal, maybe a couple of years in a row. Throw all that into a pot and there you go.
Maybe it's something that we could add as part of the registration. Would you like to contribute to the endowment? That would be check.
And
Ah.
it's something that we have struggled with, right? I mean, Eric, you have gotten awards, right? And you're like, I will donate all to the scholarship,
I've always turned the money back in,
right?
you know, I mean, every time
But you and others say, yeah, I'll put it towards the scholarship fund. We don't exactly have a scholarship fund,
I think is it just the students, whatever, so.
right? So this would be one way to do it, you know, to carve off a little piece.
I specifically remember in Great Falls, I think whoever won the raffle basically donated it back to the board
Right,
for the scholarships.
yeah.
Well, it could be some of the profit from the conference, right? Like we were just talking about, it could be, maybe not all of it, but each year, why not roll what we're making off the conference into this scholarship fund, the endowment? There's no reason you can't contribute to an endowment on an annual basis, right? That's
Right, exactly. It grows.
Yeah, I love the idea of an option to like check a box and even have like $5.
But the
Yeah,
problem,
why not?
but the problem with that though is a lot of times your employer is paying for that invoice. It almost would need to be done separately unless the state of Montana wants to contribute to
I
this
think it's definitely
endowment.
don't get $5 to an endowment.
I'm not saying
Even blink about it.
No, not to say for you guys, but I think like for the state of Montana, like all these invoices showing all this endowment money, our administrators are gonna be like, what's all this endowment money for, you know?
I mean, the only problem with it is, like, right now, we're giving out $6,000, right? With the endowment, we need quite a bit of money to come up with that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need $75,000 probably. I mean, if you figure like 8% a year. Like,
Yeah, I mean, you said his
Roll
was
something
base
like that.
25,000
At that time,
at
yeah.
that time, you know, it's the same with my dad's. Cause we have one in Stevens Point that's an endowment for AWR, for water resource students.
Oh, yeah.
And so when I pass, that's where any donations are gonna be slated to that, so.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so yeah, but you're right, I mean, my question is, if we set up an endowment, meaning Magip, who oversees it, who, you know, once we're all gone and passed, how do we determine who gets it and which school? Type of thing, versus saying, hey, if you wanna support GIS, there's this one at UM.
Right.
I'm sure there's an endowment fund supporting scholarships at MSU.
Yeah.
I'm sure, you know, so
Also-
I'm putting, I fully support endowments. I mean, coming from a family that has them. I fully support those types of things. It's just,
And I think there's probably various versions of that, right? We could do what we're doing currently, you know, where we take some of our savings and take the interest on that and use that to support, right?
yeah,
So that would be a lighter, you know, lightweight
yeah,
version.
yeah,
Well, if it's a permanent fund model, the board can oversee it going, you know, indefinitely.
yeah.
And ideally, you have enough that, yeah, you just use the interest and dividends to fund the scholarships, roll a little bit back in for inflation, so. It's a pretty common model for nonprofits, so.
Okay.
That was gonna be my question is, as a nonprofit, are there any rules against us having any kind of endowment?
No,
Or
no,
overseen in it?
no, nonprofits have announced, yeah, all the time. I mean, we need to chat with the accountant about like how to handle the interest each year, but we're
Okay.
basically passing that on to, as a grant or a scholarship, so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Because that's how.
and I think any tax liability we would incur, it would go away because we're kind of
Yeah,
making a contribution.
Okay. All right. Any
Yeah,
other questions for
thanks,
Rob?
thanks for asking, that was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Conversation.
Okay. Any other questions for Rob before we move on? Thank you, that was great.
You got
Megan, administrator, any updates for us?
Just the usual, working on the conference, page, I'll get scholarships and grants out there, and then, elections will be coming. And then Hillary, I don't know if you wanted to say anything about the request for assistance part. Bring it up too, maybe.
Sure, it's been a minute.
Right, so. All started, survey 1, 2, 3.
We all love a survey.
I don't have sharing permissions, but. You want to go to the website?
I'll fix that for you.
You're giving her sharing permissions, is that what you're doing?
I should say all participants, or let me unshare. Now you try. There we go.
one last thing I wanted to say about like the grants, the education grant. You know, one thing we talked about there in the past is maybe using one for like an entity, a teacher or a school or something, could you get that, use it to apply for like an MLAC grant or something else, you know what I mean? So use that as seed money just to apply for something larger. So I wanted to say something there, we get the word out through his channel.
Maybe we'll get a grant program next year.
Okay.
Okay, so website is the main page. You can click on the big logo to get to the conference page. Putting important deadlines on the main page now as well. And if you keep scrolling down, you can get to the grants and the scholarships. And then member support. I'll just go to the conference page first though. Conference page, I've updated as of today. This is already out here, the keynote, and then conference sponsors, the 8 sponsors we have, so.
Is he a racer or something?
I wondered
I
the
saw that
same
picture.
thing.
He's,
Yeah, car racer.
no, he's a big, IndyCar.
IndyCar.
So he just dresses like that?
I don't know.
It's in his background, but I looked at his resume and I didn't see it on there.
I would imagine he must have like went to like, he must have got like a VIP like thing of over the track and actually got to like maybe be in a car or something. I don't know.
Cool to see it.
I'm excited for that too. I'm also working on Morrison Merrily for hopefully an exhibitor concert. I got a contact there right now, so we've been in conversations.
I was gonna email Matt about Great West.
About the what?
About Great West.
Has Great West done it in the past?
Yeah, last year they were,
Yeah.
and they have a hell of an office.
You had your time.
Yeah, I got to pull everybody back to the calendar because it's 1:20 and we still have a couple others that need to go. Megan.
So member support, you'll have to log in if you want to actually request support. You've seen that, Hillary put together. Also, when you request support, a link will show up to get you to the sign-in sheet, which is also here. You can download that. The sign-in sheet now is updated with the survey 123 link for getting your receipts and your photos back to Nate.
Good idea.
So that's on there. It's also,
Did you just say it all goes back to you then?
no,
It comes back to everybody, the board.
Okay.
It does, the receipts and everything goes to everyone?
You just get a,
oh, the webhook, right?
yeah, the webhook to the board, and then you can log back in to see everything.
No, but where are they going? I mean, you said
They will be uploaded into survey 123.
Yep.
And then there's a webhook that
Yep.
sends an email to the
Yeah,
board
oh,
saying,
everybody's-
hey, you have a new survey.
I got you.
Yeah.
Also, when they request assistance, that link is in there as well. But,
Oh, yeah.
Hillary's on, maybe not, but you've been emailing, when we get a request, Hillary emails
Yeah,
when it's approved,
yeah,
that there is a link
yeah,
to submit your receipt.
yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, go ahead. Okay.
I'm just curious, when we say, request for assistance, is that meetup?
That is meetups, that is everything that was on the request for assistance before. If you want a letter of support for GISP, that's still on there.
Okay,
It's not always financial.
yeah, okay, all right, so I just wondered if if that should be made more clear for meetups, but no, I mean, like you said, it's not.
It's not just meetups.
It's for that 216.
Yeah, so GISP support doesn't cost anything. Resume review doesn't cost anything. It's really just
Yeah,
the meetups that
cool.
cost anything. You could.
So I know that when I did the meetup or GIS day, I got the webhook. And the webhook includes the email where you can go to upload your documents. I could not find mine because I had submitted it like weeks in advance. And so going back, I actually ended up, because I'm on the Magip listserv, had all of those other emails and I used somebody else's link to get to it. Did we find a place that you could, so you don't have to go back to the email?
So if you saw the sign-in sheet,
I did, yeah.
it is on there. This is the link to, oh, you're not seeing it. I can see it right here on. So I clicked on the PDF. This is the request for assistance form. At the bottom is the link to submit your receipts and your photos. There, on the web. What?
It wasn't there during GIS day. That's a
It's
new
new,
feature.
that's, you asked
Okay.
for it and it happened.
Yay. Thank you.
As
I did
requested,
struggle.
yeah.
Even Tessa did. Like I asked Tessa, I'm like, hey Tessa, you worked on the webpage. Where is the link so that we could submit the, and I couldn't find
I had
it.
to ask Hillary for it too. so I
Yeah,
didn't know.
so if we
Brand new at the
struggled.
time, so we were working it.
Yeah,
Work
I
out
totally
kinks.
get it. Yeah, but thank you for making adjustments, cause
Yeah.
it was a challenge to find it. I couldn't find it anywhere.
I also, during GIS day, people had to upload like multiple receipts or something, so I added additional
Yes.
space for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a work in progress, but that was nice. Okay.
Andrew.
Hi, Andrew. Okay, any other updates, Megan? Thank you. I just wanna say that, Megan, you're sort of like the unsung hero at the back that does everything that nobody really, like, I see it and it's like, thank you, thank you.
Behind the scenes.
That's why we made her official, because she was complaining too much.
Well, we're glad you're official. All right, any other questions for Megan, our web administrator, before we move on?
I do have one, do we have like a one-page, like, just like a flyer or something that's like, you should join Magip, you should come to our conference?
We have a member fact sheet.
Yeah, that's what I
Where,
need.
where the actual PDF is, I have
I'll show you.
You're like,
There you
"Check
go. Yeah, I have a,
Okay,
yeah,
that's it then.
but like,
The actual PDFs on,
Yeah.
it's on Google Drive.
Okay.
All right, so if there's no other questions for Megan, we'll move over to Hillary and let Hillary answer your questions.
I'm not on the Zoom, so can somebody open up the drive and I'll drive you through?
You guys want me to drive?
you can.
Please,
try it.
yeah.
It'll be a short drive because you pretty much eliminated everything in there, which is nice.
Shoulders are so tight, I love it.
I moved a lot of things and renamed a lot, didn't delete too much.
It looks great.
Almost there.
Okay. Okay, so this page here, the general public has access to everything except board business. And board business is restricted to only board members. So that has to be updated every time we do elections. In here, so miscellaneous, that's where I put,
I'm really sorry,
yeah.
but I thought everything in Google Drive was just board members.
No, because committee members can be anybody outside of the board.
And people can go look at minutes and things like that, meeting minutes.
You shouldn't be looking at minutes on the Google Drive.
Minutes are restricted here, minutes are on the website,
Yeah,
but in this area, so we can have committees and task force that are outside of the board.
oh,
So that
okay,
could be
that,
like
that
general.
does make
Yeah.
sense there,
Yeah,
yes.
or like the events, so we can have
Okay.
people running GIS days that are not on the board as well.
Okay.
How cluttered was the permissions for that, committee? I can't imagine how long that list was.
Yeah, actually, board business wasn't bad, I feel like Michelle has been kind of taking
That,
that
I'm
down.
sure, I mean, I know every year we update that.
Yeah,
So that,
yeah.
that gets updated.
And then I didn't remove anything that was outside of it, 'cause, yeah, I don't know who needs to be in what. Miscellaneous is kind of Magip information and just GIS day PowerPoints that have been created in the past. So it's kind of like your little fact sheets, your cards, this is where the, member fact sheets are. We have one for overall members, and this year Alicia made one for specifically students as well. So that just, has like your scholarship information in it. Okay, you can go back out.
Sure.
Logos and letterheads, those are all, everything you can put, it's logos and letterheads. What's here. Okay, you can go back out.
Does that
Yeah.
include the updated letters that we did this year?
Yep, yep.
Very cool.
So we did have multiple folders for logos, so there's just the one now. Events and member support, this is where you're gonna see all your GIS day information. If you open GIS day, I did create an SOP this year, so if anybody's doing it next year in planning documents. So you're gonna see, all the social media flyers I use, the SOP kind of has like a timeline of when you need to contact people and what to do.
I'm sorry, I don't know what SOP means.
Procedures.
Standard
Yeah.
operating.
Yeah. So just to make things a little more fluid in the future, okay, you can go back out. I think there's other events in this folder from the past. But pretty much, yeah, events and member support, that's what's in the folder. And then go back to the Magip one.
We want to archive those older years. Sorry, just on that, was it GIS day that went only up to 2017?
It's cleaned up, I think it's good.
Yeah. Okay, go up one more. So this is just, historical information. So if you ever want to see what we've done in the past, you can see your full text sessions. There's a lot of historical things. Committees and task force. I didn't really go into these folders. I just made sure, there were folders that were within folders. So I just made them clean here, so you see all the subcommittees we've ever had. A lot of great information in there actually, and a lot of stuff that has Megan's name on it, so that was, that shows how deep she goes. And then, okay, go out to board business. So this one, it's just got everything we need for the board for all our meetings, orientation, elections, work plans. Everything should be the most current version now, so like bylaws and constitutions, you'll see that. Draft documents, there's still like a couple in there that I just don't know where to sort.
Social media ones in there for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you see something in here that's old, either archive it or delete it. But other than that, I think pretty much everything in board business was pretty consistent. Just cleaned up a little bit, got rid of the old stuff.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Great
Nice.
job.
Thank you.
So nice.
Mhm.
All right, any questions for
You get a
Hillary?
gold star.
Right. All right, local government SIG, Andrew Stickney, can you bring up Andrew?
Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Thank you.
Well, 2025 has gotten off to a great start with the local government SIG. We just had a fantastic presentation by Mindy Cochran about accessing the Orion DOR database using GIS and cadastral language. And it was very well received and gave some good enlightenment to not only the audience, but also everybody who was attending. So it was a good jump starter to get the year going. And it was also a great example of a SIG member deciding to step up and present, even if it was a little bit scary and a little bit new. So on both fronts, that was a fantastic start to the year. And I'm also happy to announce that we've got content built out probably all the way to June, which is a fantastic thing because usually I'm running month to month. So it's good to have some stuff built out, and it gives me more time to plan for the second half of the year. And otherwise, the SIG is just going, it's just going as well as it usually does. Lots of participation. There's a lot of people who just listened in for the information. Don't always participate with voice, but they're still engaged and interested that way. And I think that it's just, it's a strong group and it's going to continue to be strong. And that's about it going forward.
So Andrew, the last local government SIG had 28 participants. I think it's fantastic.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. Can you talk about the next 3 months, like what you have scheduled? I know what's coming on in March, what's coming on in February.
So I actually I switched over from my old county account to my personal one, which I haven't renewed the membership yet. And so I don't actually have access to the SIG page right now. That needs to be something I need to rectify.
Sure. Gotcha.
Yeah.
But if I remember correctly, next month actually is a discussion with.
Can you share?
Yeah.
If you can.
Yeah. Jeff's gonna share his screen. Give us just a second.
Sweet.
Take it back from Megan.
Hey, Andrew, I just wanted to say thank you for continually running this, for sure.
Thank you.
Oh, wrong page. Gotta go out to the. I had SIG in the other,
This is a test.
yeah, I had a SIG in the other, where's it at? Of course, now I can't find
Secrets
it.
under members at the top, if you're logged in.
Am I not logged in?
No.
I must
like
not be
it.
logged in,
What? Come on, Jeff.
I have it in this other one.
This is embarrassing.
This is.
Alright,
To be fair, I don't even know what my password is without LastPass, so. No pressure.
Hey, Andrew, while we're
Yes.
looking, so, you got 28 members in the SIG. How far distributed across the state is that?
You know, I have not done a geographic analysis of the participation, so I don't have a number off the top of my head, but just off the top of my head, I would say that we have both urban and rural counties that do cross over both halves of the state. We definitely go as far east as, say, Macomb County. And, you know, as far west as Kalispell. You know, and we got Jefferson County, so we're jumping down to the south. I would say that there are some counties that may not even know that the SIG exists, let alone Magip. That is something that I think would be a good targeted outreach that I would be happy to participate or partner with Hillary on or Helen on getting that membership development going on that. So yeah, that's the short answer. Is
No,
I would
that's good. And actually, it sounds like there's room to include some
there's
more.
definitely room to grow.
Yeah, Andrew, I've also been meaning to reply to your email. Had a bit of a chaotic month, it feels, but I do have ideas for additional presenters that might, you know, present virtually from out of state, but are working in, you know, county level, city level, local government work. So yeah, I have some thoughts, and I need to like type up an email to you and then probably check in with some colleagues to see if they would be willing to give some of those presentations.
Yes.
So not to worry, I have a whole list of ideas.
Sweet. I'm excited about it. You know, so in February, this was actually a user requested topic. When I was on a work meeting over in Butte, I got a request to basically get some perspective on how GIS users in local government can support, like say the planning department or any other users with respect to planning legislation that came out of the last session in 2024. And the big one on there is the Montana Land Use and Planning Act. That I don't remember exactly what the number is, but it was it kind of wholesale changes essentially the process that eligible counties and cities have to do in order to justify their growth policies and their land use map updates and their zoning regulations. There's a lot more numerical analysis requirements that require GIS support. And then there's a lot of different things that they have to essentially have measurable results that require some support from spatial analysis of some sort. That's like the 10,000-foot view that I recall before leaving Missoula County. But I am grateful that we've got Mark Hendrickson with the city of Missoula, who's been through the entire process, start to finish, for the city of Missoula. And then I was able to connect with Danny Arps of the state of Montana. And so they're going to partner on a presentation to kind of share both from the state level and the municipal level how to support that legislation and any others that they have ideas for. So that was I was happy to get a request on that one, and luckily I had some great connections with that. And then Gail was an excellent request for March, finding out how we can communicate better with partners in order to get addressing stuff more effectively streamlined. I feel like there are other topics like that in terms of how county and city GIS users can work with our partners in order to make effective workflows happen, make projects go more smoothly. So I think that that's a continuing kind of theme that we could pursue going forward, is how do our SIG members effectively connect with the rest of the community, public sector, private sector partners, in order to make GIS better in local government.
Yeah, Andrew, that March meeting is a pretty good one. I know when I was at the city of Great Falls, we dealt a lot with postal service issues. And that was actually a roundtable that I created, at the 2016 Intermountain Conference. So yeah, that's an excellent one, and it's something that's always continue to be an issue for GIS departments that assign addresses.
Yeah, that actually came out of a collaboration. So Gallatin County is rebuilding their GIS department, and there were no people left in the department and no documentation. And so they're building the department up from literally from the ground up, and working with the city of Bozeman, but also the city of Belgrade. And one of the things that we see repeatedly, like even in the news, is why am I not getting my mail? And so we're looking at all of the addressing that's being filtered up into Gallatin County, and then also wanting to invite Michael Dashaway to come and be a part of that. And one of the big conversations is, who do you talk to at the post office, and what that process is for getting addresses updated? So and then Andrew and I talked about it and said, hey, could we have this conversation? He's like, I hear this from other people too. So we think it's gonna be a really great, and you should come. Come to the meeting and let us know. But I will say one thing that's come out of this is, we actually finally did get a person, a real live contact at the post office. And it's been like 8 months to try to get that.
Yeah.
And it's not an easy thing to have happen, and the turnover at the post office is just insane. So, really, really struggling. There are some people that are in Belgrade that get their mail like once every 2 weeks, which is insane. Yeah, yeah. And then one of the other things we're talking about is the form for that the counties or the cities give to people to take to the post office, and they're all different. So we're talking about like, right? So how can we standardize it? What do we need to put on there? Anyway, super interesting topics. We'll be having the roundtable at the conference. So sorry, Andrew, I didn't mean to steal your thunder, but any other updates, Andrew?
Let's see, the one topic that is potentially going forward is the SIG roundtable discussion for the conference. I had a topic in mind of resurrecting a topic that got canned way back when Tommy was here because the speaker dropped out. And that is, how do we as GIS users educate the people, the decision makers who help influence our discussions? And it was kind of a follow-up to last year, where last year we talked about how do we retain people, money, and resources in order to run GIS programs. And this is sort of the back end of how do we teach and educate those who make those decisions on the value of GIS. But Gail also had another suggestion that we kind of blend and merge with having the keynote speaker and talking about how AI is used in local government. I feel like both of them are great topics, and I'm not opposed to either one, but I'm certainly interested in any feedback that you guys have on that.
Great. Any other questions for Andrew? Okay. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate everything that you do to keep that local government SIG going. It's a heavy lift. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Andrew.
All right, Eric.
All right.
MG.
So, council met last week, January 17th. Note everything that everything I talk about, their full agenda with all the links is available off the council's website. I know, can't share that with you now, but it's
Also-
pretty easy to find off the state library, so.
On the agenda too.
Oh, it's on the agenda?
Yep.
Perfect. I probably saw
Second
that
page.
towards the back. So everything's available there. Last week, quick meeting, well, it wasn't a quick meeting, but the number of things that came out. Aaron and Jenny, had the bulk of things. They're talking about they're improving the spatial data value, which is one of their strategic goals through the state library. And so she has a full-on MSDI workflow and planning for the future. They have a full calendar out on the processes involved, of how each of the MSDI theme leads are working to review their theme data quality and working to put that together with their working groups and how they can ensure the data quality and integrity of those MSDI data layers. And so a number of links were provided there showing the workflow, how they're planning for the future of that. The calendar is available for that workflow as well off their website. It's part of their strategic goals that they established on standardizing these things, setting expectations for the use of the data, and then better and more improved how to manage and maintain those data layers. And so a lot of work going into that right now. Jenny gave a quick 2025 legislative session update. There are over 4,300 bills in the works. Now,
And any of these
Handful.
deal with us?
there's a handful of them, only a percentage of those 4,300 will ever make it, because February 22nd is the deadline to get those things introduced. But there's at least one, Jenny sent that out to, I think you got it as part of the board. There is one that they're kind of watching. She also provided a ledge MT, I can't remember the URL. There's a website that you can go to that you can put in keywords to follow things and stuff like that, but she said she's gonna start putting together her state librarians summary from the session, weekly summary or bi-weekly summary, and she'll be sending that out. I think last session that went out to the listserv as well as the board, so she will ensure that as an organization and as a membership, we'll have stuff to listen to and follow and things like that. So they already had their budget hearing in front of the legislative committees. She said it was pretty straightforward. Everything went well with that, if I recall. Let's see, funding case studies. The geospatial information plan draft, Erin's finalizing that initial draft. She has a couple case studies. Those were a couple of the big points that we were waiting on. She has 3 case studies that will be introduced as part of that information, the geospatial information plan development. There's a case study on redistricting from marine private forestry consultation from the private industry and wildfire research from the university system. They're working on defining the budget and any gaps. Said document, she's planning to publish the comment around the 13th of February. And once that's done, then she will be looking for endorsements, and she's looking for the council, i.e. the MJAC council, to potentially endorse everything at the March meeting. So that February meeting is when Magip membership, as well as this board, should we choose to, will have opportunities to make comments.
I put up on the screen, this is the House Bill 240, revising the laws related to digital mapping. This is one of the ones that we're keeping an eye on.
Oh, okay.
It does mention the state library.
Okay, so there's that one. There was also one that she talked about that was dealing with redistricting or no boundary, local boundaries or something like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
this will be on the list that she sends out weekly?
Yep.
Okay.
yeah. And so right after the meeting, I went to that link that Aaron had shared, and there was no text in it at all at that point, right? So, yeah.
Yeah,
So
some of those things, like I said, they're
Yeah.
just placeholders and waiting for whomever to dream up the language for it or whatever.
But definitely want to be keeping an eye on this one. When it,
Is it the, do you know which one it is there, Eric?
It might have been, I don't know if it was probably
Revised
1201.
Boundary
I
adjustment.
think it was 1201.
Yeah, it hasn't gotten a bill number yet, so
Yeah.
we'll see if it does.
Yep.
Means it's still in draft mode, so.
Yeah.
Is that the one you just had up?
No, that
was
one,
a different
that's,
one.
that's a different one.
What is
Did
that?
you see that it said global?
Yeah, global information system, I was like, you mean geographic information system?
That's what-
That's what,
I hate that, right?
that's what Jeff was just whispering, like.
Yeah, well, cause I know the surveying community is gonna be rallying against this one too, cause it mentions no like surveying of like the navigable rivers and stuff, like it's
Yeah.
supposedly just updating the boundaries, and I don't know how.
Interesting.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a.
It's-
that we're gonna need.
Yeah,
Well, plus rivers meander, like.
Yes.
The mean high water mark or whatever that is, that, and
you
like
constantly
that.
have to be surveying to the high water.
Yeah.
If you truly want to map these, do.
You'd
to
have
the
to
nth degree,
survey it,
yep.
survey it every single, like probably fall.
Well, aren't they talking about using, like the NHD is using LiDAR for that, so.
Well,
are
that-
they gonna need to survey it?
I mean,
But that's something
That's-
updated, right?
that you
Yeah.
need still ground.
And that's crossing up there too, it's an aerial versus actually surveying it, you
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
And that's only
Yeah,
to as good as
Yes.
when you do the LiDAR fly.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
Right, as soon as it meanders, start flying, I mean, that's out of date.
Sounds like that, June 14th.
Yes.
Okay,
So anyway, so Jenny is keeping that up to date then?
That's what she said, yes.
That's gonna be her goal to keep that up to date and let us know, because, I mean, those,
Things that they're following, in the past, she had an update on a weekly or a bi-weekly, I can't remember the basis, but she sent things out, so.
I mean, those things keep happening fast,
Yeah.
and then we had to move on.
Maybe I'll ask Jenny, but I think we probably should be sending that.
Yes.
To the listserv, so. our
yes,
members know.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And maybe.
yeah, it was in the past, yeah.
As part of social media, like making sure that blast goes out on social media. I just think that's really important to coordinate with MGI.
Mhm.
So can you be the point person on that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
So let's see here, so that was the draft plan, she had a discussion about the, we kind of had the horse before the cart on this one, the future of MGI grant program, and this is based on the MGI collections report. Collections are still nowhere near what they were 2-3 years ago. And so at this point in time, they've already stated that they're not comfortable with a fiscal year 26 grant program due to lack of revenues. So there'll be no advertising for that, and they'll continue to monitor revenue. Fiscal year 27 will be reviewed, and we'll have to review that come September, I think.
Yeah.
And so they have a great dashboard showing the MGI collections report, statewide as well as county level that you can go to. The link is on there on her agenda. And then, her report, Erin's personal report, she's, doing everything, representing the states across the different boards. What is the, NISJIC will be in Bozeman.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was on your agenda, actually. I think you had that listed.
Oh, you know what, I don't have that one
Yeah,
listed.
National States Geographic
Yeah, is
Information.
that 2026 or 25?
I think it's 2026.
26, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like early spring, right? Is that what
I
it is?
don't,
Yeah.
I will add that.
So, so that was the bulk of that report, and speaking of. Megan had it pulled up, there's about 3 of us on the council who our terms expire in 2025. So July 25, so we'll see what the makeup of the council is. I don't know how they'll be doing it, during the legislative session, how busy they get in terms of appointing back people. I think as it stands now, if I recall the council, as it stands now, a council member stays on until such a time as their replacement or they've received their official appointment.
Okay.
Whatever, however it works. So.
Yeah.
It's a,
Just two questions.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad to hear that, collections are going down, right? To me, it means that development is slowing down.
yes and no.
It is going
It
back.
means there's two things. It means maybe development is slowing down, or the flip side of that is also people are paying cash. So by not having big mortgage documents,
Oh,
because
Yeah,
I remember my
that's-
mortgage documents were close to 60 pages, and that's a filing pay per page fee. If you pay cash, there's no reason to have a big, long mortgage document.
Yeah, there's-
So.
I think you literally file like 2 or 3 pages and that's
Yeah,
it.
that's it. So,
Okay.
so yeah, so the second home buyers, second,
Sign.
third, and fourth home buyers
Yeah.
in town, in the state are probably paying cash more than likely.
Okay.
And so,
All right.
so there is that, and you're refinancing with interest rates as high as they are.
right.
There's no one refinancing and probably not looking to buy as much either. So yeah, I think there's. And then development side, you more than likely, we have people doing more multifamily on single places. I know in town, yeah, I mean, here in Helena, there's more apartments going up. And even with that, I saw in yesterday's newspaper, the average rent in Helena is supposed to increase by close to 30% in 2025. And Bozeman, close to 40% in 2025. So rent is going up, but that doesn't, and so renters, we don't, you know, as a renter, not me, but renters don't do any filing fees.
No
so-
comment.
So, I mean, it
Yeah.
leads into a bunch more questions. I guess what I was thinking is that, you know, before the big run up,
Mhm.
we had collections that were more modest, but the
Yeah.
council still had grant funding through that.
Yeah, I don't know where, you know, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there is the potential that the money's being spread across some of the other, you know, certain other budget lines. Because you're right, yeah, before our big boom in 21 or 20. Yeah, when she pulled that up.
A lot of it goes to salaries, like my salary is fully paid from that MGIA account. I think there's 4 of us that are paid from that account.
All right.
So a
Yeah,
lot
so
of
you can
stuff-
see, this is the dashboard.
No, his is that one.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's kind of squished on this, but if you have a nice monitor, if you go look at it, it's actually,
Sure.
you're right, because it's correct, you know, prior to 2021, you know, that's, you know, we were funding grants, but, yeah, so.
Yellowstone County can only
So
do
do
so
you
much.
think they'll envision maybe a different way to?
And I think that's gonna definitely be a discussion item when we get back to that notes page I had. I'm looking at my fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've already determined for fiscal year 26, but fiscal year 27, they'll, you know, will be reviewing. And the land plan, the new geospatial plan actually looked at, you know, they were gonna be doing the grants on 2-year cycles. So I think at one point in time it was discussed it would be even years that they'd be opting into doing the grants at a 2-year cycle type of thing. So if not 27, then, yeah, so there's the fiscal year. So you can actually see it's actually much lower than what it was even back in 18, 17.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean fiscal year 23 and 24, you can see the collections, statewide collections, how much.
And we're halfway there.
Because the what, $1.50 a page, that was.
Now it's $1.50, yeah. It was $1. It was $1 back in 18, 17, 19. I think the $1.50 went up, it was around, was it 22? After the last legislative session, I think.
So that could be changed.
That could be.
Well, the county is revising their fees on the, just on their side, but it's not gonna increase on the MGIA side.
So I have a question.
Mhm.
So during the strategic planning meeting that I attended in July, they were talking, I think it was July. They were looking at other funding sources, like potentially telecom and, I mean,
Yeah, I
it
didn't.
was strategic planning, so there
Yeah.
was like a bunch of ideas. Do you know if anything came out of that?
I've not heard
Oh, okay,
anything.
okay.
I've not heard anything.
Yeah, that, I would be curious to hear if they have considered, I know that everybody's ears perked up, because it was like, oh, maybe a different funding source is the way to go, right?
Yeah,
And I think Brian was in the room and he was like, hey, we should
Yeah, I think that was that came from the private side.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
think Aaron has mentioned, applying for grants and stuff.
Good.
Federal grants,
Yeah.
but, that also means you're applying every other year or something.
Right, this was actually a permanent way of
Yeah.
increasing it, okay. All right, that was a great update. I do actually have one thing to add to that, and that was, when I presented Megap's update, actually also extended the invitation to MGAC to book some time during the conference. So I know that Aaron,
yeah, that'll fall, and I think we've always had a
Yeah.
council meeting during the April
Okay.
conference, but I don't
Except for
know.
last year.
They just did a roundtable last year, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
I think they changed it last year just because they wanted more of the focus to be on the conference.
yeah, okay,
But this year, I mean, being
Who knows?
Helena lined up.
Yeah, they may
as
want.
well.
yeah. And then the next MGF meeting is going to be March 27th. That's a Zoom meeting from 9 to 1, is that right?
I think so, yeah.
That's the one that I saw on the calendar.
Yeah, they have all
their.
Yeah, I think they have, the council's website has all
Yeah.
the coming
It has-
meetings posted, so,
And the
I did-
agenda has the link to that.
yeah, and I just rely on the calendar. They can be posted on my calendar.
Yeah. Somebody sends you the invitation.
I get an invite, I color code it appropriately on my calendar, and then just wait till the beginning of the week and go,
Fair
"Ah,
enough.
hey, I got that this week."
I know, I can't believe that 4 hours have actually passed, but it's 2 o'clock. How did that? I know. How did
I
that
kept
happen?
mine as short as I could.
Thank you. That was a great meeting, or
It
a
was
great
really a
update.
good update.
Are there any other questions for Eric? Okay. So, time for us to adjourn the meeting.
Well,
We have
yeah,
to,
public, unless there's someone on
Right.
public comment.
oh, public comment, that's a good question. Does anybody?
Anyone online?
Thanks,
Steve. Laura? Questions?
Not anymore.
No?
As soon as we mention his name.
Nathan, any questions? You're the only other person out there that's logged in, okay.
Make a motion for, adjournment?
I second.
Okay, everybody in favor of adjourning, say aye. Anybody opposed? Say nay. All right,
Sign off.
we are adjourning the meeting.
We did it.
Thank you, everybody. That was awesome to have everybody